There is no denying the fact that DC struck gold with the Absolute Universe. All of these books, in particular the first three, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, have been big hits, books that have enchanted and enthralled audiences since they kicked off. And we've been wondering and discussing and debating what the secret sauce is behind everything that is working so well for these books. And this week, in a publishersweekly.com article written by Susanna Nerd Girl Polo, DC is spilling some of the beans. And one of the things that they have now come out and said explicitly is how much the success of manga was a factor in the decision making for framing and creating the Absolute Universe. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how DC may just be tapping into an audience that is hungry for this kind of storytelling and how much further they can go with the manga influence. Joining me to have this conversation today is Tyler.
It's just me. Huh, okay. A little lonely around these parts. Oh, paid actor, this cat. Oh, he's not in the frame.
Yep, just Tyler, just the two of us today, but that's okay. Whoever's here or not here, it's still the Comics Pals.
And we got everyone else in the chat here. So we got plenty of people here.
Yeah, thank you guys for being here. Whether you are live or in the future, make sure you smash the like button if you enjoy what we do. We've got the goal up in the chat for us to play the GOAT game a little bit later on. So you can get those super chats in as you feel you are ready to do so. And of course, we'll wheel spin here as well to coincide with some of those super chats.
Yep.
So let's jump right into it. I'm going to read a little bit from this article. And it's worth pointing out that now the trades are out for these books.
Yeah.
The Zoo, the Last Dust of Krypton, and the Last Amazon are all out now. And so here's what the article has to say. Quote, DC Comics has 3 new books featuring familiar superheroes on the shelves this month, but the origin stories within are anything but familiar. In Scott Snyder and Nick Dragotta's Absolute Batman, Bruce Wayne is a city engineer driven to vigilantism by the death of his father, a teacher slain in a mass shooting. In Jason Aaron, Rafa Sandoval's Absolute Superman, Kal-El grew up in a Kryptonian caste society of haves and have-nots and was old enough to feel the loss when the planet was destroyed. In Kelly Thompson and Hayden Sherman's Absolute Wonder Woman, Diana was reared in the underworld, not an island paradise, by a witch forbidden to even say the word Amazon. This is a reliable hook in the superhero publishing world. Marvel Comics has its own dark alternate continuity running right now, the Ultimate Universe, but Absolute has proven particularly punchy in execution. Its heroes are reimagined in both ways, creative and biting. Its artistic direction is stunning. That's borne out in sales and acclaim. Absolute Batman #1 was the best-selling monthly comic of 2024, at least according to DC, and Absolute Wonder Woman garnered 2 Eisner Awards this July. DC's executive editor, Chris Conroy, says it's the creators, not the heroes, who face the greatest trial. The hardest part of doing this with characters who've been around 80 years is finding a new challenge. I'm going to read just a little more before I want you to tap in, Tyler. Absolute's North Star, says Conroy, was keeping the line concise enough not to overwhelm new readers. It's really heartening how many people we hear are saying this is my first superhero comic, which we love to hear, but it's a huge responsibility because we know we have a chance to lose them if we confuse them. Conroy says that his and Kubert's do's and don'ts for the Absolute were informed by their time. This is important. We're informed by their time on DC's 2011 line-wide continuity reboot, New 52, which launched 52 new titles simultaneously to equal parts acclaim and consternation from fans. That experience showed them the level of success you can unlock when you do this in a way that is really eye-catching and delivers some new and modern feeling. but also the pitfalls you can fall into when you get precious about protecting something, or conversely, you're heedless about breaking something in search of the new. I'll stop there before we get into the manga influence and stuff like that. How do you feel about the way that Chris Conroy describes the delicate manner in which they approached crafting the absolute universe?
Um, it's refreshing. It seems like they've had time to percolate this. They mentioned this Absolute Batman started from Snyder's ideas post Death Metal, I believe. So Snyder's had time to percolate this. But this whole world was been in the rumbling since like 2020, 2021. And it seems like they were able to kind of hold off, look at all the things that went well about big relaunches like New 52, figure out what worked well, and then figured out what didn't work well, and really put all of those, ducks in a row before relaunching this. And I think when the Absolute Universe launched, I think everyone was like, "Man, this is working. This feels like a calculated rollout of a whole new initiative." And it's cool that like they were able to kind of just work with this for a bit before launching it. I feel like a lot of comics these days is not reactionary, but it's just trying to pop a number. So it's refreshing to see something that did pop a number, but it did by design and not just for a one-time thing.
Yeah, it feels like it's very well thought out, and beyond like what is the plot of this, way beyond what is the plot of this. And I think when I look at, if we're comparing Ultimate to Absolute, when I look at Ultimate, I think, they thought a lot about what is the plot of this, but I don't know if they thought as much about like stem to stern what makes this really different, what makes this really radical. um so I could definitely see some of that stuff. Back into the article. If the key to Absolute's new origin stories and narrative structure was restraint, the philosophy of its art was expansiveness. Absolute Batman is rendered in the kinetic and manga influenced pen of artist Nick Dragotta, and Absolute Wonder Woman is the geometric panel layouts of Hayden Sherman, while the precise and expressive faces characteristic to the work of Rafa Sandoval ground the action of Absolute Superman. The Absolute books look like little else on the current superhero shelves, or even very much like each other. That was a concerted effort to reflect a quote hunger out there to see something visually new that Conroy and other DC editors thought they could see in the audience. He cited the success of Skybound's 2023 Transformers as bolstering his feeling that the Absolute books were on the right track. Initially written and drawn by Daniel Warren Johnson, Transformers took place in a reset continuity and rendered its familiar, boxy robot subjects with Johnson's characteristic loose and sketchy style. But if there was a single theme that informed the casting of Absolute's artistic team, according to Conroy, it was the growing appeal of manga to DC's audience. Quote, we knew that the Western superhero comics audience and the manga audience were overlapping like never before. There is a vast pool of readers out there who are experiencing serialized comics through manga and not through Western superheroes. Their first reference point either starts with manga rather than with our material, or the elements of our material that have already been reflected through manga, like Chainsaw Man or My Hero Academia. Last bit. Conroy emphasizes that the goal wasn't to make manga versions of DC characters. I think Western imitations of manga are never going to feel like the real thing, but to choose artists whose work was already manga influenced as a matter of course. It was just natural that Nick has his whole life been reading manga. Hayden is a huge manga fan and also reads a lot of European comics. We really wanted to fully welcome those influences in the door. So if you have never read a Western superhero comic before, but you have read manga, you'll pick it up. You will see the story told our way, but with visual thoughts that resonate with you. Superhero comics, Conroy feels, are reaching a moment of generational turnover. At DC, we were seeing other companies take steps into that water and succeed, and we thought that a wave was building, and if we timed it right, we would be right on it, he says. A wave of new artists, he explains, can make everybody rethink what a superhero comic can look like. An absolute bold, maybe even confrontational artistic direction was, quote, an effort to lean into those headwinds. When DC revealed the first Absolute images in July 2024, it was the cover of Absolute Batman #1 that spurred the most conversation. Dragota's straight-on drawing of an almost inhumanly jacked Batman, so wide that he was nearly a square. That was the moment Conroy was certain DC was on the right track. We knew from the force of the reaction that we had found the place we needed to be.
Makes sense. This is like one of the first times I've seen one of the big two editors really call out manga as a gateway drug that a lot of people have had. You know, Dan Didio always talked about that lost generation. That lost generation isn't lost because manga had that generation, you know? It's lost for DC, it's lost for Marvel. But seeing somebody try and not mimic that. We're not doing, you know, Spider-Man the manga. We're realizing what works about manga and people who have been influenced by manga and capitalizing that into a Western comics medium. Like Absolute Batman doesn't look it doesn't read like manga. But Dragota's art style is not what you see at DC Comics. Like proper. Like you don't see, maybe you do now, but you wouldn't have seen Batman #1 drawn by Nick Dragota. It's too different. And I think when it first came out, we had always assumed like, oh yeah, you know, they're leaning into the indie sphere a lot. But now seeing that, like, yes, they were leaning into the indie sphere, but also specifically manga influence artists is super interesting.
Yeah, it is. Nick Dragota, I think his style, I agree completely that he doesn't fit in the mold of what you typically expect to see out of the big two. And it has helped to make Absolute Batman stand out. I mean, specifically, Absolute Batman and Wonder Woman, when those images were released, think about all the fan drawings and even the fan outfits that people did for Absolute Wonder Woman, making the sword bigger and bigger. You know, people were having so much fun with those things, and there really isn't an equivalent to that I can think of in either space, be it Marvel or DC, where people latched on to these interpretations so much. And Absolute Batman, I see that rubbing a lot of typical Western comics readers the wrong way because he is boxy and odd looking. And you can look to Frank Miller and The Dark Knight Returns and say, well, there's a similarity there, and there definitely is. But I think this is an evolution of that with a more manga flair that Nick Dragota brings to it that definitely would appeal to people who traditionally read manga because they're used to that.
And I guarantee you Miller's Dark Knight influenced manga creators. There's a thing in the art sphere of manga and Western comics that it's an influence circle in a way. They're aware of each other's work, you know, even though the publishers might not be. So there's always influence going around in a circle where we'll see trends continue and then go into the Western comics that came up in manga, or even the inverse, like how My Hero Academia is pretty popular. That is taking a lot of Western stuff and like the splash pages that you see here. So there is like a weird ecosystem in the art that somebody's actually capitalizing, which is nice.
And doing it in a way beyond, you know, like recognizing that and then editorially seeking that out. I think that's really smart. And I think that DC's editorial deserves a lot of credit for that. And whoever, you know, made those decisions to recognize that meeting people where they are is the only way that this works and not doing cheap gimmicks. Like I would never, ever, ever read Spider-Man the manga, Batman the manga. So I don't give a shit about that. And it's always some weird shit. Like there's one where It's like Batman and Joker and Superman, and they're eating food and doing like, I don't want to read that. That's not ever going to be something that I'm going to read. But if you throw out Absolute Batman and it feels like Batman and it feels like what I would expect to get on my Wednesday, but it has influences born out of people's enjoyment of a different storytelling medium or style of storytelling that can enhance what it is that I already want to see. Yeah, sign me up.
And you remember that the outcry when they revealed Absolute Batman, right? People were like,
Oh,
what the fuck is this?
Of course.
It was only about a year ago at this point.
But it was interesting and exciting.
Sure, because it wasn't bad across the board. It was more intrigue, I think. Like, what are we looking at? Is that the logo? What's going on there? And it's just cool to see that it kind of worked out for them in the long run.
I also think it depends on where you were looking. I saw a lot of people who were very, very turned off. And I feel like a lot of that was more in the space of traditional comics readers who don't necessarily want change and couldn't understand how Batman could be that jacked. And now you read the book and it's like it doesn't even really matter how Batman is that jacked. It's just cool that he is.
Yeah, it doesn't matter because Bane is even more jacked at this point. Like, if you're saying Absolute Bane does not have any manga influence, what are you doing? Like, come on. There's clearly manga influence there. Even like just the sheer body horror of it all feels like Akira a bit. And it's just really cool to like have that as like maybe a question mark, like, oh, he was probably influenced by manga, but then seeing Conroy talk about like, no, this was by design. It's just it's really neat.
Yeah, and it's also refreshing to hear editors talking at all in this way.
Yep.
We don't get enough of this, and I think it helps when you can know like, and not that we're owed it, but it helps when you can hear from the people who are working on these books what it was that they were thinking about as they were putting this whole line of comics together. And they talk about the risk factor and how much of a balancing act it was to present this in a way that didn't alienate readers who are already in the fold, but also was welcoming to new readers. And we take for granted how what that even means. Like, how do you pull that off? Like, how do you make something feel palatable for someone who has never read Batman before?
And it's tricky because it's 80 years of content and stories that's not just comic books. It's movies, it's TV, it's video games, it's children's books, it's novels. How do you refresh that? And I guess the one place they didn't look for inspiration was manga, and this is working out.
Yeah. Jay Sage with the 4.99 says 3 things I love: pals, manga, and super chats. Plus, I'm in your city. What we doing tonight, boys? The dynamic duo is active. Welcome to New York, Jay. Glad to have you in New York. Glad to have you in the chat. Thank you for the super chat. And I really hope you enjoy your stay, man. Whereabouts in the city are you? Were you hanging out?
If you need recommendations, let me know.
JetX 2004 with the 5 spot. I wouldn't say that Absolute being like manga is what's bringing people in. I think that's the fact that they're unlike other superhero comics.
I think it's fair.
Are they?
Artistically, yeah.
Artistically, yeah. I think the stories don't feel revolutionary for comics. I think the stories are pretty comic booky. The biggest difference is they start flat in the sense that you don't need prior knowledge to read them. And so you can start at ground zero, for lack of a better term, with Batman, with the promise that this isn't like just some basic Elseworld bullshit. This is like a real living, breathing universe.
It also helped that like the discussion around it from Snyder was like, no, there's legs here. It's okay to get invested. We're going to be doing this for a while.
Yeah. Gen X follows up to elaborate. Absolute isn't like any manga that I've ever read, but it's different enough from superhero comics to differentiate to a new audience.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think, and that's one of the things that comes up a lot, and I do have a different opinion. I don't think that the absolute books are revolutionary from a storytelling standpoint. I'm not willing to give them that much credit. They're still superhero comics. I think Martian Manhunter
Yeah, I was
is probably the one that feels the most like you would not get this from Marvel or DC otherwise.
and even in terms of like art too, like as much as I love Sandoval on
Rafa.
Rafa Sandoval, yeah, on Absolute Superman, we do know that wasn't the original artist. So that one feels, I don't want to say it was hobbled at the beginning, but it feels like that one wasn't fully according to plan. And I think Rafa Sandoval, in terms of like the big three Absolute books, is probably the most straightforward art. That's someone I could easily see be doing Superman proper. So that one's a little different in terms of like, okay, well, this doesn't feel exactly like how monumental Absolute Batman and Wonder Woman felt for me. So that one always jumped out to me a little bit.
We would have had Raphael Albuquerque
Yeah.
otherwise, who is also an artist that you could see on a big two book. He's literally on one right now. So yeah, I just personally don't make that much out of this from a storytelling standpoint. But I do think that giving people a fresh place to start is something that helps, because like if you read the ultimate titles, for example,
Yeah.
I don't want to use ultimate. Let's use New 52.
What did the article describe it as? An alternate dark line?
I don't think so. You talking about the New 52?
No, the Ultimates. They brought up like, oh, Marvel also has this alternate dark line going simultaneously.
Marvel Comics has its own dark alternate continuity running right
Got
now.
it. Okay. I don't really think that fits for Ultimate, but sure.
I mean, they're both dark. I think they're both more bad than good. Like the Absolute Universe is inspired by dark side energy. In the Ultimate Universe, the bad guys run things, so they're fine. I just feel like the New 52, as an example, tells you it's a flat start, but it's really not.
No,
because Batman's continuity was intact, Green Lantern's continuity was intact, but even if you push those characters to the side, I don't think the New 52 was understandable even out the gate. It was too much, too soon, and almost immediately continuity was a problem. You needed to know certain things from the past, but also some things you were supposed to forget. It was a fucking mess. Here, it's almost like these characters were created the day, like that day. And that's the key difference.
Yeah, sure, some of the ingredients were the same, but it was a whole new meal at that point. You could literally, like, especially once these come out in compact, which I assume they will, that is just, you're getting it from the start, from the jump with these characters.
Yeah. Yeah. Superjob makes a good point, though. One of the Ultimate books is a literal manga. There's a trend I've noticed for a very long time that DC gets credit for things that Marvel also does, but because Marvel doesn't brag about them, people don't say it. Mm-hmm. Ultimate X-Men is a manga. We're talking about an article right now about DC's manga influence and praising them for that. Why do you think that is?
What's the question? Like, why are you saying that like Marvel doesn't get credit for it, or DC gets the? Because Marvel's marketing is shit. Like Peach Momoko's Ultimate X-Men is its own beast. And I don't think any of the other Ultimate books feel like that book. So much so that when we finally got those characters showing up in other books, it feels weird. It feels so siloed that it's hard to say, hey, our whole line's manga influence, our whole line, this is a plan from the get-go, when really it's just one book that is showcasing that. And I think Marvel's, I feel like, of the camp that they know people will eat their shit up and they don't need to brag about it, which I think is bad. I think that's dumb. I think they should be praising themselves and putting out articles like this for books instead of just kind of coasting on their own success.
Yeah, I think there's definitely an aspect of that for sure. And it's weird because the ultimate the absolute universe in my mind feels like a place where a book like Ultimate X-Men would make more sense than where Ultimate X-Men is right now. Because Ultimate X-Men sticks out like a sore thumb in the Ultimate Universe because it's the only book like that. Yeah. And it's literally a manga, not just manga influenced. Whereas all the other books feel so similar to each other than that one that it just doesn't really jive.
I also argued the whole monthly format of the Ultimate Universe negatively impacts Ultimate X-Men. I feel like the flow of the story gets thrown off because of that.
I mean, I think we're on record. It affects all of those books negatively. It's just not something they should have done. But the Ultimate Universe doesn't feel like it's built to appeal to non-comic book readers in any way.
No, it feels like it's built to appeal to comic book readers. It's like the exact opposite. It's people who have been reading Marvel books who this is something a little different that they've been clamoring for. Let's give them it somewhere else.
Yeah. Atomic Al with a $4.99. Hit like, subscribe, ring the notification bell. Call your mom and tell her she needs to listen and find out why she should be reading the Absolute line. If your mother would read the Absolute line of comics, you have a cool mama. Congratulations to you for being born into the world by a mother who reads comic books.
My brother told me that my mom puts us on live on TV on Saturdays, and I didn't know it. Hi, Mom.
Hey, Mom. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I think that Marvel, not that Marvel needed to do exactly this. I don't think that. And I like that the universes are different. But I do think you have to be willing to give credit where credit is due. And in this case, DC's efforts in the last year have proven out. You know, you don't win two Eisners by mistake. You don't have the best-selling comic book of the year, according to DC, by mistake. These are things that happen because you worked hard to make it happen.
According to DC, Absolute Batman #1 is still selling.
Well, I don't doubt that at all. In fact, they are reprinting every single one of the Absolute books. They're all getting new #1s. And I think
every issue of every book?
I think they're doing every issue of every book, a reprint, which is insane. You never, ever, ever hear about that kind of thing. In fact, to show you how crazy that is, a few years ago, Image Comics said that they were going to stop printing after the initial print run of all their books, with very few exceptions, because it's often just not worth it to keep these books in circulation. Absolute Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, all these titles are doing so well that they want to keep them on the stands. That's a big deal.
Nah, I know what the reasoning is.
Okay.
They want, when Sean goes up to the comic shelf and he's picking out his books real fast, they want to get you with that rope-a-dope and accidentally get you to buy one of those third printings instead.
That's not impossible.
They have it out for you, I think.
That is not impossible. Patrick Zay says Absolute Batman #1 is about to be on its 10th reprint.
Is there a record for that? Do we know? It's got to be close to it.
I don't. That is ridiculous.
Even Star Wars, I don't think got to 10 reprints.
Wow. And you can't sweep that under the rug. You know, there's a lot of things that other channels and people will will use to denigrate that kind of success. But you really can't, because that's not easily repeatable. You don't see that happening elsewhere. It's here.
And this is coming from two Marvel heads. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
If Marvel was doing something like this too, we would gladly glaze them.
I'd be happier.
Same, same.
That's just
Okay.
honest.
Do you think Marvel will do something like this now? Do you think Ultimate's relaunch after Endgame might be a little more relaunchy?
I think it depends. I think that depends on a lot of factors. My hope is that they're looking at the last couple of years and saying what went right, what went wrong, and willing to make those changes. I honestly don't feel like the Ultimate Universe is in a bad spot. They just
No.
need to get rid of the monthly gimmick.
Yeah.
Like if they just get rid of that, I'd be a lot happier.
Dude, how good would Ultimate Black Panther be if they got rid of that? Like, that is such a good book in the grand scheme of things, but it just gets hampered once a month.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that about. I wouldn't read Ultimate X-Men no matter what, but all the other books, to me, yeah, they're harder to read because of that.
Yeah, and it's just sunk cost fallacy because they started it, they got to keep going with it.
Yeah, it'd be weird to cut it off now, and like the Ultimates book proper is very exciting when you've got a great issue and then it ends with like X months later. But when you get a middling issue and it's X months later, and you realize that they're not going to build on the momentum of the issue you just read, it's like, what the fuck am I doing here?
Aaron Ruiz says, "The world to come is our savior. Trust me, guys."
The white savior? Is that what you're getting at? Oh boy. We've got a $10 super chat from Benjamin, who says, outside of artistic choices, I'm not seeing any connection to manga. Absolute Wonder Woman and Absolute Martian Manhunter have been dope, but a Batman book, but Absolute Batman looks, love Dragota's work, and reads like an early 90s Image era comic at times to me.
I'd argue a lot of early 90s Image is due to manga. Like the big sword that Wonder Woman has, that's Berserk. That's 89. That's before Image. So a lot of that has been feeding each. Is what I'm saying. Like those artistic choices and ideas have been feeding themselves throughout artists on both sides of the world throughout the years.
Yeah, well, he does say outside of artistic choices. So I feel you on that. I don't know if I would compare these from a storytelling standpoint to early 90s Image. Those books are fucking bad from a storytelling standpoint. Like they're not I whatever. It's not
You're not a fan of a bad guy and Shaft?
I don't even know what that is.
I think those are young blood characters. Bad Rock and Shaft. That's what I was thinking.
Okay. I just look at it and I feel like they're breaking molds from a storytelling standpoint, but molds that those characters are stuck in, not molds that superhero comics in general are stuck in. Changing Superman's origin so drastically for a non-Elseworlds book makes Superman interesting to read in an ongoing serialized story, which you really wouldn't get at any other point in time from DC. Like, when was there ever, to my knowledge, when was there ever a Superman book that was completely alternate, Superman origin that lasted, dozens of issues?
The closest is Red Sun, but that's a one and done story. It's not an ongoing.
Exactly. That's exactly it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's never had legs, but that was by design for that book,
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a little trickier to see the manga influence outside of the art. I think seeing it in a publishing standpoint and an artistic standpoint is pretty evident. But in a narrative standpoint, it's a little tricky because like a lot of like big shonen manga is influenced by American superhero comics. in a way.
Yeah.
So they it's trickier there.
And like Absolute Batman, for example, leans into violence that
Sure.
feels beyond the pale for, I would say, for superhero comics by and large. And it feels tighter. It feels more less concerned with the world around it, and that's a great thing for all of these books, that they don't have to think about, or at least as of now, it doesn't feel like they have to think about, well, how does this connect to that? Yeah, we can see some of the connection points. If you're reading all of them, you can see how they intersect, but it doesn't matter to those books right now. And that's exciting. Whereas almost from the word go in something like the New 52, there was a lot of stuff that mattered to the other books right away. So I like that they feel siloed. They're in their own sandbox. We're getting our first crossover between Absolute Batman and Wonder Woman here later this year, but I don't think that that's going to derail where these books are going.
Yeah. Yeah, fair.
We got a 5 spot from Revolutionary Dragon. Hey, pals, when it comes to Marvel, they only brag about how they rage bait their audience.
I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah, point me to the bragging.
Yeah, I don't think they brag at all. That's the issue. I think they just put out stuff.
Yeah, I would like to hear Marvel talk more. I want CB Cebulski and others, Brevoort and others, Dan Buckley, to do shows like this. And to be fair, we haven't reached out to Brevoort or Cebulski, but you don't see them, all over the place. Like if we tried, I'm pretty sure we could get Tom Brevoort on the show if we asked. But they should be out there. I want to hear from them. I want to know, what are the publishing initiatives? What are they thinking about? But when you just get the books,
yeah,
it's like, what the fuck is this?
I like to see the behind the scenes. I like to see how the sausage is made, because that contextualizes the actual book itself. Like the comics are a collaborative medium across many facets.
Yeah.
And seeing how that's made is part of the charm of why I like comics.
100%. 100%. Thank you, by the way, to Lucas Hallner for 9 months
Jeez.
as a VI Pal channel member. That's a beautiful thing.
His pal's baby just got born.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Transformers #1 is on its 14th printing. Whew.
That's okay. Wow. All right.
And that doesn't surprise me either. That doesn't surprise me either, because Transformers is pulling from an entire, like, Transformers had Transformers fans in the bag, but it also pulled in comics readers like myself, like Tyler, who never would have given a damn about a Transformers anything until they said Daniel Warren Johnson is doing this book. So
for sure.
They tapped into a completely different audience.
So when DC says the Absolute Universe was inspired by things like Transformers, it's like, okay, we want to put out a whole bunch of reprints, and we want Daniel Warren Johnson. Because he's doing the annual, right? So
we want an artist who's got a style that's radical for something that matters. When Marvel had access to Daniel Warren Johnson, they put him on Beta Ray Bill. It's a fantastic book. It's awesome. They didn't use, and it's not really about denigrating them, but like, they didn't use Daniel Warren Johnson to launch something big. And that is what Skybound did. Because I don't think that Transformers relaunch has 14 reprints with #1 if it's a more traditional creative team.
Yeah. Yeah. And also the Kirkman capitalized on Daniel Warren Johnson at the perfect time, right as he's hitting that wave. And it also happens to be something Daniel Warren Johnson is super into, Transformers, like it's a big part of his life. So maybe the idea of capitalizing on artists when they're hot is the way to go too. That's the influence you can take from the energon of it all, that DC is a little more tapped in to do.
Yeah. They saw Daniel Warren Johnson's star rising. They threw him a bag, and he put out 24, it'll be 25, 24 issues of Transformers before he's done. He didn't draw them all, but he brought them in with his art. They found George Corona, who does great stuff
Right.
too, and it's been rocking and rolling.
Marvel hasn't even really capitalized on artists recently that I can imagine outside of Peach. Like it feels like they're trying to make artists, or artists are trying to make a name for themselves at Marvel, not the inverse. They're not saying, "Oh, here's this artist that did some really good indie book that was people loved. Here's them on this book now." They're kind of siloed.
If I've said it once on this podcast, I've said it a dozen times. When you are winning,
Yeah.
you can be defeated by victory. You can become apathetic to success. And so, because Marvel has no real financial incentive to do more and to think outside the box, they don't. Not the way that DC is, and not the way that, quite frankly, Skybound is, because they have to. DC has to do this. They cannot get by doing the same old shit because Marvel does the same old shit better than DC does. They just do. I will always believe that. When DC gets like this and they realize, like, wait, we have to be a little bit radical here and put our heads together, they can do what they're doing now.
And look at our poll list. Even you and I, probably DC heavier across the board.
It's shifting.
Yeah. Which is the first time that's happened to me in almost 2 decades.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Which has to do with a lot of the Absolute stuff. The Absolute stuff feeds into my want for the mainline stuff.
Yeah, because another thing that DC tapped into was to weave the introduction of the Absolute Universe story in such a way that it ties in mainline, but neither is required reading for the other.
Yes.
They're just enjoyable separately. Yeah, I'm pretty sure one day there will be some kind of massive crossover and all that. We're not there yet. Right now, it's just really fun. And I'm sure that will be really fun, frankly.
The Absolute Crisis.
Yeah. How can you not?
They got that banked. There's a PNG file of the logo already somewhere, I bet.
1000%. Denmore already drew it.
Yeah, well, we got to figure out what he's doing with this hyperbolic time chamber over there.
He's already in the future too. Banksy Main, what is worse to y'all? The month-to-month storytelling of the Absolute Universe, or the way Krakoa dragged on Krakoa? I don't even need to read the rest of the comment. Krakoa is the biggest line-wide disappointment for me in the history of my time reading comic books. The way that ended, I have never been more let down overall by something that I was so hyped by ever.
I might have to go with the inverse here. I think my problem with Krakoa isn't the fact that they dragged on beyond Hickman's initial intent. My issue is how they pulled the plug on it. They really just were like, all right, pull the ripcord. And then it just happened way too fast, way too out of character for a lot of characters. That was my issue. I think if they could have allowed those younger creators to kind of live in that sandbox a little longer, then we might have had some stuff. But that month-to-month shit at Ultimate just pissed me off.
For me, the Krakoan era shifted from gold to shit the moment I saw X Lives and X Deaths of Wolverine was a Terminator style story where Moira McTaggart is a fucking robot.
From gold to shit is the worst form of transmutation I've ever heard.
Right. Imagine that.
Yikes.
Imagine that. A few people in chat talking about how Janoi Lindsay is very manga influenced, and I have to agree with that.
I'd argue that's the most clearest example of, in terms of an artistic way, of them shifting to a more manga style artist. Even for us, it was a bit of a jarring moment reading that. and seeing the Janoy Lindsay art, because it's Green Lantern. It's not Trinity, but he's next up after that. So even now, like, I like the art a lot. I'm still getting used to it for a superhero book.
I like Janoy Lindsay's art quite a bit, and I agree that it is the most manga influenced. I mean, we literally have Abin Boo, but to me, that's a great thing. It's exciting. I like his art style, and I think there is room and space for different styles in comics. That is something that, look, we have to move on. Art evolves. I think the art that people loved from the 90s evolved in the 2000s. It shifted and changed. And in my opinion, it got better. We started to see, and throughout the 2010s, we started to see artists doing different page and panel layouts that were very dynamic and cool and interesting in ways that you really didn't see in the 90s and the early 2000s. You go back and look at some of those early 2000s comics, those pages are fucking stiff, compared to what Hayden Sherman is doing now, where there's almost no
Grid.
no
There's no grid.
yeah. Like that's cool as hell.
Aaron Orange, I think it's Aaron Ruiz, right?
It is.
A lot of people said that Absolute Green Lantern was similar to webtoons, and I would say yes, that's a good thing. Webtoons is not my jam. It's not my thing, but it is so many people's thing that who gives a shit if it's not my jam. And I think trying to capitalize on an art style that would be more primarily be seen in something like that is a smart move, because you are trying to appeal to an audience that maybe isn't reading superhero books. This is the clearest example of what Conroy was saying. And sure, Joanne Lindsay's art is maybe jarring for a Western comic reader, but this just looks like the good shit for a lot of people who aren't reading Western comics to try and draw them in.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's smart. Again, doing things to attract other audiences without pandering. And DC has been really good about that. Marie Javins has her head on properly. Compact comics have been a big success. They're working out. Webtoons worked out. These things are attempts at reaching audiences that do not read comics, and every single one of them has been successful. You can't argue with that.
Shupatel says they are putting out webtoon versions of the Absolute on their line in their app. Are they? Is it like a digital version of?
I think I read something like that, but I don't know enough to comment. I don't recall exactly. Zenith Flair says, I'd love to talk more about the failures of Marvel's non-existent marketing team. The wife and I are looking at houses today, so I'll be in and out. Hit that like button.
Shopping for houses has got to be infinitely more fun. Actually, no, that sounds stressful as shit, but so I was talking about Marvel's marketing team.
Marvel's marketing team is definitely a marketing team.
It's us.
Yeah, right. Like, they work so hard. I'm sure they work very hard, but I feel like their effort is in their own books. Like, you're marketing your own books in your own books. That's not marketing. Like, if you go to a store and the only time you ever hear about that store is when you're in that store, and all they do in that store is try to sell you on stuff in that store. Obviously, they want you to buy stuff from their store, but you only hear about it when you're in that store. Why would you ever know to go to the store in the first place? That's why commercials are effective.
Yeah, agreed.
It doesn't make sense to me.
They're not putting their comics on ring mats.
They're not putting their comics on ring mats. They're not even putting their comics on TV, or newspaper, film, anywhere.
Yeah,
anywhere.
At least James Gunn is cool enough doing marketing for DC.
And also, they sign these people up to all these crazy contracts. Force a motherfucker to hold a comic book.
Yeah, Kumail Nanjiani's not doing shit right now. He's talking about his Eternals contract. How he has multiple movies signed on and theme park rides. Ain't happening, buddy. I'm sorry. Make him show off. I don't know. New Spider-Man ASM.
No one cares about Camille Nanjiani.
I like him.
I'm talking about Tom Holland.
Okay.
Force Tom Holland to hold a Spider-Man comic. Force Robert Downey Jr. to hold an Iron Man or a Doctor Doom comic and say, hey, this is where this came from. Kevin Feige allegedly is in charge, not overall, like he's not the guy at Marvel Comics, but they report to him. So isn't there a vested interest in the comics performance?
You'd think. Like even RDJ posted like Doctor Doom books, but that was like not currently being published. It was his research. Where it's like,
oh, that's good.
Why wasn't he posting about One World Under Doom if he could?
Yeah, it should be. But if his own effort was to do what you just said, then that's great.
That's his
because
own effort,
he's just himself. He has no need to promote comic books. But Kevin Feige does, and Marvel does. So get these motherfuckers to hold a comic book.
I guarantee you, once the Supergirl movie comes out, what's her face? Who's the actress playing her? I forget her name. There will be some kind of ad campaign where she's showing off Woman of Tomorrow, the comic.
I'm confident in that as well. Yeah.
But seeing, I don't know, the Fantastic Forecast showing off Ryan North's new #1 that just came out the same time the movie came out, not going to happen.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Foxtastic says Kevin Feige hasn't done shit to help the comics.
No, absolutely not.
Those hats, Sean. He's wearing all those hats. That's a nod to the comics, right?
At this point, those hats are a nod to the movies themselves.
Yeah, it's true.
Which is its own type of frustration. Elon Reese says Viz app is $199. DC app is $11.99. The newest 3 chapters are also free to read on some major series. I think people who read digitally also buy physically. It makes a huge difference. I don't know, dude. There's not that much overlap in my anecdotal podcast hosting, having a podcast community based on comics. There's not a lot of overlap in that space. Majority of the people that I know who read digital, and very rarely dip their toe into the physical space. Maybe they get an omnibus, maybe they get the rare single issue that's, important to them for some reason. But by and large, my experience is that there's a separation between those two.
Yeah, especially when it comes to single issues. I think it's rare that you see people who buy digital and physical single issues.
Yeah.
Maybe trades and stuff that doesn't affect what comes out.
Yeah. DC has webtoon stories. The only ongoing is Wayne Family Adventures, which is on break right now, but others include Vixen NYC, Red Hood Outlaws, Atena, and the Rippers. That's from Shu Patel. Yeah. And it's cool that they're doing that. It's cool that they're doing that. Marvel has the vertical scroll thing that they do with the Marvel Infinite or whatever that shit is called. And that's cool too. I haven't really checked that out, but like the storytelling style, from what I know, is the same. Whereas Wayne Family Adventures don't feel like a traditional Western comic book.
Yeah, so like those Absolute books aren't on Webtoons. They have Webtoon style scrolling with DC Go, but that's on the DC Infinite app. The Webtoon stuff is distinctly different.
Right.
That is made with the intention of it being in that format.
Yeah. Exactly. Common sense says the price needs to be cheaper. I don't see how the DC app could be cheaper. Like, you're already getting a ridiculous deal. Think about the cost, and I know that a lot of that is due to printing, but think about the cost of, let's say, any omnibus. It doesn't matter what it is. It's probably $100 or more MSRP. You can read every single issue in that omnibus on the DC app for the overall price of the subscription. They're giving it away.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Coltrane here with a good point, actually. Jumping in late, but Dragota's work before Absolute Batman was Ghost Cage. It was fantastic black and white comic that's basically a manga. I never read manga, but it's what I imagine it to be. Can confirm, Coltrane. I loved Ghost Cage. Ghost Cage was very Akira influenced, it felt like, in terms of like the weird body techno horror and like corporations and all that. I recommend Ghost Cage a lot. It's a great black and white comic. It's, I believe, Dragota solely. And it's cool seeing the stuff he did there find its way into Absolute Batman here and there. Even more so with the Bane stuff happening. Oh, Ghost Cage was so good. Loved it.
Never checked it out.
Yeah, Kurt Welch says Ghost Cage is a love letter to Ultimo. Yeah. Black and white comics, Sean. Sometimes they fucking hit. They slap.
Walking Dead. Silhouette says, for how big Marvel truly is, Marvel has to take the biggest blame out of everyone for comics not being as big as manga. Do you agree with that?
Marvel has to take the biggest blame. I don't like giving blame. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't think you can really blame one or the other when it comes to DC or Marvel. Sure, Marvel is the one that's always sold more in recent memory since the manga boom, for sure. Sure, why not? Fuck it. Fuck Marvel. Like it is the bigger of the two. So just some sheer numbers. If you're gonna give blame to both, Marvel will get a little more blame for not trying to find what works in manga, find what the audience is like there. Maybe not steal it and crib it completely, but use influences here and there. I mean, Marvel tried it. You know, remember Spider-Man Loves Mary Jane?
Yeah.
That was kind of an appeal to those smaller romance mangas.
Yeah, sure. And people loved it.
It's true, and they just stopped doing it. So I was going to give them credit, but now I want to blame them again.
I don't know if I blame Marvel. I think that the industry as a whole overall has a lot of stuck thought processes and slow to move and slow to innovate and everything else. And I don't know if you can really just blame one particular entity for that. But I do think that the industry generally goes where Marvel or DC go. The interesting thing about that statement that I just made is that here we're talking about how the Absolute Universe took at least some inspiration from Skybound's Transformers. And both Marvel and DC are doing blind bag initiatives after Skybound's success with the Invincible Battle Beast blind bag initiative. So both publishers are actually taking marching orders from Image in that respect.
From Kirkman.
Yeah.
Huh. Kirkman's just breathing that rarefied air, I guess.
He always has been. Zari Jr., I strongly disagree with the idea that the MCU doesn't help the comics. Prove it. It's one thing to not agree with a statement, but it's another to have facts, figures, and evidence behind it. So you say you disagree with it, prove why. I don't say that it helps none at all, but I don't think that it has dramatically. I wouldn't even say it's like I would say it's marginally at best helped comics.
And we're talking comics, the medium.
Yeah.
I think what it's helped is it's helped the IP of those characters infinitely. And it makes those characters marketable and things that maybe aren't necessarily comics, TV shows, toys, card games, all that shit, video games. But I don't know if we've ever really seen it have a one-to-one huge peak benefit to the comics. I wonder if X-Men movies is where they can try and finally have some kind of cohesion.
I don't know.
No,
man.
probably not.
I don't know.
Austin Lenny here says, I got into comics because the MCU fell off. Inverse effect. Proof.
That's funny. That's funny. Zari says superheroes as a medium became pop. Superheroes aren't a medium though, bro. That's where you go wrong. Superheroes are not a medium. Comic books are a medium. Superheroes are popular and mainstream thanks to the MCU, but that has nothing to do with comic books. That's a separate thing. Comic books are a medium, and comic book sales, my brother, are not as good as they were before the MCU started. I'm not saying that it's because of the MCU. I'm just telling you it's a fact that comic book sales are not as good as they were before the MCU started. So I don't know how you can say that superhero popularity has helped comics. It's helped movies. It's helped. I mean, it's buoyed the movie industry. The medium of movies, the industry of movies, is in a rough spot without the MCU.
Yeah,
gotcha. Sure thing. I don't understand how you can come away with the idea that that has trickled down to comics. There's no evidence of that.
C.W. Gordon says Endgame was the biggest movie in the world, and comics didn't spike widely.
Exactly.
Meanwhile,
you look at what James Gunn did, and again, I am more of a Marvel fan. I would much rather be doing a show about Marvel's success right now, but I can't deny the facts. When you look at what James Gunn did, when they first told us what the books were that inspired the first phase of DC films, all of those books sold out. Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, or Superwoman, whatever the fuck, was not a success. It was not a success. Understand what I just said. That book that everybody suddenly loves was not a success.
People were bummed about it.
Yeah, it did not do well. You couldn't find it after that James Gunn video. You couldn't find it in a store.
And all it took was a video that had, we could have made that video in a day. Like, it took the most smallest modicum of effort to do that. Just a name drop with a graphic.
Yeah. Come on now.
Luna Pink says, my comic shop has a James Gunn section in their shop. I'm sure James Gunn loves the idea of that.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah. He's huffing his own farts, but hey, apparently those farts be smelling good. God, the worst analogy I made on the show.
I don't even really like James Gunn that much. to be honest with you, I'm not that big of a James Gunn fan.
You don't like how he yaps?
He's annoying. But I'll tell you this, that motherfucker's done more for comics than Kevin Feige has.
I agree. And I think in terms of the head honchos of DC Comics have been riding the wave of their movies smarter. Like, you have to plan for All In. And remember what All In did? All In reintroduced Mr. Terrific in the comics as a bigger member of the DC universe. It had a Metamorpho comic coming out. It had stuff in the wings ready for when the movie came out. Yeah. Marvel says, well, the movie comes out, the character's dead in the comics.
They do the same thing every time. You can set your watch to it. It's a very obvious thing that Marvel does and DC used to do that they don't really seem to be as into anymore. Pete Collins says, if these cinematic universes translated to sales, the few actual in-universe books we've seen would have sold much better. That's a great point too. Those books never do well. No one cares about those books.
Even the Avengers Assemble by Bendis that came out, that was like the first inclination that Marvel was going to synergize with the movies. It was Thanos back in as the villain for the Avengers after being in space for over a decade. Was fine. Like, it didn't sell more than the Avengers proper.
Right. Yeah, exactly. TVA, that book was... Come on, please, get that out of here.
I at least read the new Spider-Gwen book that spun out of it. Pretty decent first issue.
Good. Order of Dylan says, I think this is a great debate in and of itself. Did the MCU do enough for the comics industry? There's no debate. What's the debate? What are we debating?
Is anyone going to play Mephisto's advocate here?
I go to Comic-Con every single year. San Diego Comic-Con happens every single year. What's the number one complaint about Comic-Con? All these people who love superheroes, love geek culture, all that stuff, but don't pay attention to the comics.
Yeah.
I don't even feel like I have anything else to say about that because it's so transparent. No debate.
The characters are IP. They're not comic book characters.
Yeah.
They're just bankable dollar signs.
You would have to not be living in reality and not be looking at numbers and not be seeing the trends to think that the MCU has meaningfully had an impact on the medium of comics and on the sales of superhero comics in general. You're on one if you think that. It's just not a thing. By the way, we are halfway towards our goal. So if you guys want to contribute, we are almost there, halfway there. We're only an hour in. That feels good. We do owe a wheel spin. So why don't we do that now? Why don't we drop that in?
What do we got here? Can y'all see this? It's gonna spin forever unless I force it. I gotta add a little thing to it. Okay. Highlight a book.
All right. So I'll put up a poll. The audience will vote for which one of us they want to highlight a book. I got to put a list together of books that I've recently read because I always forget whenever we actually get to doing this. So we'll give the listeners a little bit of time to get their votes in.
Did some reading yesterday in the car.
Yeah, I was reading too. I just don't remember what the fuck I read. Foxtastic says Captain America running around from 2012 to 2017 in a stupid movie helmet and costumes with too many lines. That's from the movies. Yeah. And that shit was annoying. Like I can't be the only comic book fan who gets annoyed when you see that the costume changed or the personality changed and you know it's just based on the movies.
With no real bump in anything worthwhile.
Right. Like if it helped, that'd be different. At least I could say, all right, I see the reason, like it works, whatever. But it doesn't even work. It didn't even work. So ridiculous. All right, I'm gonna end the poll. They want you to highlight a book. So why don't you go ahead?
You guys really like me. Sure. You know what I read yesterday? Absolute Flash, number 6. This was the Jeff Lemire, art by Nick Robles, colors by Adriano Lucas. It was kind of a flashback to who the Rogues are. But I think it's an interesting take on the characters. We've had the Rogues throughout the book. And you know, it's been like reinterpretations of those characters. But they were actually a Black Ops group of soldiers that were given a job. It feels very Suicide Squad-esque, that they fumbled and they actually sided with a foreign power to get money. And so they were kind of blackballed for it all. And their introduction as the Rogues is because the government was like, hey, we'll wipe it clean if you do this for us. So they get all superpower enhancements and stuff. I'm liking Absolute Flash. I'm not loving it. I'm liking it.
I dropped it. It's the first Absolute book I dropped.
Full on drop. Didn't even buy it.
Nah, done.
Okay.
Done. Something had to bite the dust, and that's the one I went with.
The Flash tripped.
Yeah. Yep. I am over it. Super Job said, is your goal finishing this video? No, the goal. Well, look, I if it were up to me, we'd be doing this for 4 hours a day. I love it so much, but it's the only thing that brings me joy. But no, the goal is if we get 10 super chats of $5 or more, we'll play the GOAT game, which we have played 4 or 5 weeks in a row now because you guys have been so amazing. And hopefully we get another shot at it today because we always have fun with it.
Yeah,
make sure you guys smash that like button if you are enjoying what we're doing.
And for the GOAT game, if you guys have recommendations of characters, superhero or like comic characters I should throw in there, hit me up on Discord.
Yeah. Yeah, why not? Comic Book History says, do you think Gunn and his style of launching DC will make the other movies feel too different? I remember everyone saying Guardians of the Galaxy was different from the other movies.
I think being different from the other movies is fine. Clayface is not going to be like Superman. And that's fine. I think that is important for movies. If every movie that comes out is a big bombastic superhero movie, I'm bored.
I don't know how to feel about that question because we have only seen one film. So, my assumption is that James Gunn set the tone for what he'll be doing, but that the other creators have the ability to do what they feel like doing, and it won't matter how different they are until it's time for some cohesion, and then we'll see how much it matters. But like the original MCU, I mean, they're similar, I guess. Like Thor feels pretty different from Iron Man, I guess.
Um, sure, but not really. Like the structure is kind of similar,
Yeah,
but that was on purpose. That was also the advent of like superhero um universe movies. So I don't blame them for doing that at the get. I think Gunn has the boon of this premise already existing. So now he gets to twist it and play with it a bit. And he seems to be leaning into genre and creatives doing their thing
yeah,
over a bigger. There's a reason why we have a Clayface movie instead of a Batman movie.
yeah. Well, we should have a Batman movie, but that's another story. Zari Jr., there is an article with several sources by Comic Book Herald that actually proves with data the MCU does in fact help comic book sales, regardless how we feel they could have done more. So produce the article. Produce it. Are the pals watching Peacemaker? I am not.
I watched the first episode, did not get to the second one. I will be getting that today.
Was it good?
Yeah, I liked it. I like John Cena's character here. I think he's doing a fun job. There's first episode has some good Hawk Girl and Green Lantern in it too. Not a spoiler, it's in the trailer. Fun stuff.
Cool. I'll check it out eventually. I don't know why I haven't, but I'll get around to it.
Apparently, the last 3 episodes have not been shown to anyone besides the editors because it's very spoiler heavy for what the DCU is.
Huh.
So it's gonna matter, this show.
Gonna matter.
Well, yes.
Yes. Before we continue the conversation about the absolute universe, where it's going, and how they can do even more to bring new readers into the fold, I do want to shout out our listeners, the people who make this possible every single week. That's you guys, our sponsors of the show, our patrons. Patreon.com is the best way to support the podcast, support the stream. If you enjoy what we do here, we really appreciate everybody who supports us on this level. So special shout out to our Pals vs. Legends, the Hound of Justice, Atomic Hound, Starcross Catherine Stars, Adam and Bernie the Best Boy, the Spear of Judgment Jay's Jumble, Jalen the Sanguine Sorcerer, Safe Haven, Hayden's Hideout, Jesse, who will be getting his origin a little later, Kyle, and Entertain Me. I also want to thank Pals vs. members, the Night Stalker, Harris Sajinski, Brian Demolished Del Pozo, Kefis the Incorruptible, Momentum Mike Elliott, Dan the Truth Trudeau, Marley Manistorm, Slow Flow Dameron, Christian Uncaged, Always Laughing, The Spear of Justice, Izzy's Issues, Robert, Runback Cashaback, Pete the Dream Weaver Collins, James Just Jamming Jones, Powell, Powerhouse Smith, Neon Knight, the Cosmic Avenger, Matthew the Shade Cosmo, BJ Kicks, the Living Blade, Boss Frontier, the Grand Alchemist, Chop Hoarder Alchemist, John Barrier, B and Doomsday, David Melendez Doria. Thank you for your support. If you didn't hear your name and you're supposed to, you'll hear it a little later. And also, tomorrow, for all of the patrons who are eligible, we will be having our monthly hangout with you guys at 1 p.m. Eastern. Show up for that. I'll be there for 1 hour. Clash in Paris is tomorrow at 2 p.m., and I will be watching that. So you've got me for an hour if you want me. And I'll see you then, hopefully.
You excited for Clash in Paris?
No. No, I'm not, but I'll watch.
You want to see Rusev versus Sheamus again?
I actually do.
Yeah,
I actually do. They're fun to watch together. Rami Darwish says my problem is that DC is still very slow making movies, even with Gunn. I understand quality over quantity, but the quantity is still very low. I think that I mean, Supergirl's coming out next year. So this year they've got one movie, one show, and then Supergirl next year. So I feel like that's a pretty good clip. No, I mean this universe just started, and we already had Creature Commandos last year too.
Yep. I mean, it's not a Marvel clip, and when they were, hot, but I think it's still pretty good for what they're doing.
Yeah, it's also not even like a Marvel. It's not an early Marvel. Like, no, it is an early Marvel clip. I feel like it's faster than early Marvel because early Marvel was like what, one a year or so, and they didn't have any shows. If you're talking about prior to Avengers, so I think you just got to kind of give them grace on that. And Lanterns is coming too. That's a good point, Shub. So I feel like they're running at a good clip. Silhouette says, didn't Comic Book Herald prove that the Superman film increased the volume of Superman reading order searches and stayed high consistently, while Fantastic Four had a spike and then quickly went back down? I haven't read the article, so I can't speak to that, but just off, anecdotal knowledge, that wouldn't surprise me.
That tracks for what it is. I
Yeah.
mean, also search results does not equal money in sales.
Yeah.
Reading order, it's just like that sounds like, oh, they're going to be looking it up on some website.
Right.
But it at least is a harbinger of buzz and interest in the characters.
Zari, how do you know that he said it's he's he said Scarlet Witch is arguably Marvel's most popular character thanks to WandaVision? What the
Scarlet Witch?
come on, brother.
She's been dead for 5 years.
Scarlet Witch isn't dead. Oh, you mean in the films?
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
been dead for a couple years, Multiverse of Madness, but she ain't the most popular. You think Scarlet Witch is Marvel's most popular character?
It's Spider-Man. It always will be. Even like female character. No.
No, no, not even no. Fuck no. Like not even just no. Fuck no. All the way no. There's I've never seen one shred of a thing that would suggest that to be the case. Scarlet Witch, Marvel's most popular character. Am I having an aneurysm?
Even female character.
Storm,
Marvel, Storm,
Emma,
Emma.
Jean.
Yeah,
They haven't even been in a movie in 6 years.
And they can hold a book up better than
Scarlet Witch. They got to fucking relaunch every few months to keep that book going.
And he clarified he meant as a female character. And even then, I'd shit. If we're going by female character in comic book sales, Magic's their most popular.
Right. And if you were saying 5 years ago when WandaVision came out,
there wasn't even a Scarlet Witch book, was there?
I don't recall. I mean, we were in COVID. I don't think that like even if you wanted to say that was true 5 years ago, like that could be the case, but it's certainly not true now. Rogue is a good example. Yeah, come on.
Steve Orlando's book Scarlet Witch, the first Scarlet Witch, came out a year after WandaVision. So even then, like Marvel just takes too long to capitalize on these things.
Right.
I don't think there was a Scarlet Witch book coming out from Marvel. She was in a team for sure, but when 2021 was happening, WandaVision was hot. There wasn't a solo book.
Yeah. She was in the trial of Magneto. That's right. Zari says I meant about trade paperbacks. I can't have this conversation with you because you keep changing what you're talking about after you say something.
He's on a delay though. He's on a delay. So.
I don't care. Put all your fucking info in one post. You said it was sales of the book. Now you're saying it's trades. It's a different matter. The Vision and Scarlet Witch trade paperback, which was based on 80s and 90s Vision Scarlet Witch stories, was sold out in stores. That is true. That is absolutely true. But that's also because Marvel did not give a fuck about keeping that in print until people started to seek it out. And now you can find it wherever you buy your comics.
It is interesting the Vision gets top billing there.
I don't even know if that was
No, it is. I'm looking at it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver was the volume before, and then it goes to the Vision and Scarlet Witch.
Okay. There you go. Yeah. There you go. Oh man. What do you think the absolute universe, if anything, can do to maintain this momentum? Are there pitfalls that you foresee? Like, because they seem to have been showing restraint with the amount of books. Are there pitfalls that you see? Are there things you think they need to do to keep this momentum?
I think the crossover between Wonder Woman and Absolute Batman right now is fine. I think going too heavy in the crossovers will be bad. I think they kind of need the stories to live and tell their own stories at this point. Like if all of a sudden Absolute Green Lantern crosses over Absolute Flash, it would feel like it came out of nowhere. Those stories are different and they need to percolate. And so far they're doing it. They're keeping it that way. Yeah. Yeah. And I think keeping the line small is also the key.
I would like to see them bring in some more interesting artists. You know, Hayden Sherman was a breath of fresh air. Probably that was a lot of people's first time encountering their work was with Absolute Wonder Woman. Absolute Batman having Nick Dragotta again, probably the first time a lot of mainstream comic fans encountered Nick Dragotta's artwork, even though he's been in the industry for decades. Um, they can still do that. And it feels very mutually beneficial because now Hayden Sherman is a star. Nick Dragotta's next project, whatever that ends up being, will be bigger than his prior projects. He's a name. He's bankable now. I even think that Daniel Warren Johnson being a part of Transformers and then having a shot during Absolute Batman is going to help Daniel Warren Johnson. So they're providing a platform through which these artists can come in, do great stuff, and then their name is elevated. Let's keep doing that.
Yeah, agreed.
Go ahead.
I was saying, and also the editors and whoever's booking, that's such a wrestling term, whoever is picking what creatives to put on these books, whether that's, Conroy or Snyder, keep their, ear to the ground. So far, so good. But I think knowing what's hitting, what are some upcoming names, who is being popular, like I can imagine like Zoe Thorogood doing a 3-issue Absolute book. Maybe even longer, but like something like that where it's like you have almost like an auteur creator in comics doing something different in this space could be a real big thing for me.
Yeah. I think keeping the crossovers limited until it's time to do the big one is also smart. Crossovers among themselves are okay, but even then, I think you can get really bogged down. I think keeping this feeling very accessible is the way to go. Like, I don't doubt that there are people who started reading Absolute Batman with the Bane arc because of some of the visuals that have been seen on Twitter and the conversation about Bane and everything like that. And if you start the run with that arc, I think the prior arc is awesome, but I don't think you've missed so much that you can't jump on board.
Do you think they keep numbering straight through?
I think you need to. And it'll be a real test of people's honesty. Because one of the things that people say all the time, biggest complaint about Western comics, they don't end, they shift creative teams all the time, and they get hard to follow. If these Absolute books stick with the same creative teams, minus the occasional artist dip out for some time to get ahead, and then whenever the creative team's time on that book is over, the book ends. If that's what they do, I don't want to hear anybody's complaints about how they just feel too superhero-y in the way that they were constructed and laid out. Because at that point, they will have gone the Invincible path, they will have gone the Dragon Ball path, they would have gone the Walking Dead path. It'd be no different.
And also, manga fans like to start at the beginning.
Right.
That's why there's a lot of confusion on where to start with Spider-Man. They're like, oh, I'm going to start with Amazing Fantasy. Good luck.
There's a very clear beginning.
Yeah.
And as long as the middle and end don't get muddled, I think that you have books that people will be able to pick up in perpetuity and know where to begin. You cannot start. I mean, you could start with issue 1 of Batman, like the very first Batman ever, but why would you do that?
No, it completely changes. You know,
Yeah, he had a gun. I mean, it was only 2 seconds, but he had a gun.
sure. He had them sick ass purple gloves though.
He had the purple gloves. Yeah, it's a very different book.
Like the OJ of DC.
Do you how do you think they handle things with compact comics? I've seen some people talking about how, there need to be compact comics of these books, and I got to imagine that at some point we'll get it. But my question is, um, if you do that, because they just came out with the trades right now,
Yeah.
you can't cannibalize the sales of the trades at this point. How long can they wait? Do they wait before we see compacts?
I think a year. I think a year is fair. I'd prefer sooner, especially with stuff like Martian Manhunter. Like that book's already stopped being in print at that point, so it doesn't really get to help the book. But I think 6 months to a year is probably the way to go. I think these need to be out in compact though. I don't think there's any question about it. They need to be out in compact, maybe even their own branding, like absolute compact, where they can continue doing subsequent volumes, as opposed to compact right now just being standalone stories. But I think they need to be in compact form. Although Dragota's art is kind of small at some points. I wonder what that looks like in compact.
Oh, well, yeah. No, that's a good point. I can't think of an equivalent book in compact.
There's so many compacts though. There's got to be one in there somewhere, but I don't know it.
Yeah. I think it does have to happen. I would be shocked if it happened earlier than within I think probably a year from now, from the trades releasing. I could see it. Silhouette says, I think DC just has to keep up the momentum for 2 more years, and if the books are still great, then in 2 years let's get an anime adaptation. All right, that is the last thing that I really wanted to talk about here. Not necessarily the anime adaptation part, but the adaptation in general part. Let's talk about the New 52. The New 52 dictated the way that we saw those characters portrayed in outside media for about a decade. A lot of the animated films that they put out reflected the New 52. And I guess you could say there were aspects of the film universe that reflected the New 52. Aspects. I got to say, I don't know if they're going to go the same route with the Absolute books. And the only real reason I say that is because they're currently launching a film universe that feels like it has an identity that is solidified. And alongside that, they're launching an animated universe that is taking its cues from the films. So where's the space for Absolute?
They've also announced an Elseworlds animated universe.
That is true.
They have the Jessica Cruz Green Lantern show coming out, which isn't mainline. She's not part of those Green Lanterns.
From what isn't that in line with the my best friend?
Oh Superman? Yeah, My Adventures with Superman. Yeah, it's in line with that. So they have their own little, animated thing going on there. Yeah, that's the Jake Wyatt showrun one, I think. Honestly, I don't think the movies touch this. I think the closest we get is maybe Wonder Woman has a big ass sword whenever they introduce her. But I could see an anime, or I don't want to call it an anime. I could see an animated Absolute series if they go down that route, because there is a clear, what's the word I'm looking for? There's this is done in manga all the time.
Yeah,
manga comes out, they have a studio that adapts it, and it's almost happening simultaneously, just continuing. And that works. It feeds itself in terms of what people want. People then watch the anime and they're like, "Ooh, I want the story more. I'm going to read the comics." Then when the comics come out and they don't have any more to read in the comics because they're up to date, they're excited for when the anime comes out. So I think that blueprint exists, and it would be really interesting if DC capitalized on it. And honestly, like Dragota's work reminds me a lot of like that early like Aeon Flux kind of 90s anime that, we had. And I can totally see that art being interpreted in a motion, like an animated way, as opposed to just standard comic book art.
I definitely think they'd be leaving money on the table by not doing it. Will they? I hope they have the presence of mind to see what they have on their hands and take a chance. I would throw out Absolute Batman and see where that goes, see how popular it is, see if it hits. And then if it does, you go right into Wonder Woman because I think visually she's going to translate super well.
Do you just do movies, animated movies, or do you do a series?
I feel like a series would really hit home with the people that are most that would most likely connect with. So I would like to see 7-10 issue or episode series for these.
Sure. Well, let's hit up David Zaslav on the horn, see what he's doing. We might call it the wrong yacht, but see, he had his face AI implanted on the one of the extras in the Wizard of Oz they're doing in the Las Vegas.
No,
he just needed to be a part of that. So he's in a remake of the Wizard of Oz that's being filmed in the Sphere.
Okay,
looks like shit.
That's weird. Jay Sage with the £4.99. Even before Absolute, Scott was taking stuff from manga. Look up Kaguya from Naruto and Perpetual. Final villains and same backstory. Huh. Interesting.
Oh, Kaguya. I don't recognize this character. Interesting. I never got that far in Shippuden.
Entertain me with the $5. Says spin the wheel. Here's my contribution. Thank you for the $5. Entertain me. It's $10 to spin the wheel. Appreciate you all the same, but you did contribute to our goal, which we are 2 away from reaching. 1 away now. Thank you. Jay Sage with another £1.99. Scarlet Witch might be most popular on Twitter.
Yo, she does have shooters there. That's for sure.
Yeah, bro. Like, it's such a different space, man. Like, if you went by Twitter, I feel like Scarlet Witch, Red Hood, fucking who else? Squirrel Girl. Like the most popular characters on social media and the actual most popular characters are very different.
Yeah, I'm glad we got that Luna Snow comic.
Right. Yeah. Jay with another $4.99. Thank you, brother. Kagurabachi book club when? It's young Batman with a sword. Starts off thinking he's broody, but got so much depth, just like Batman. I think you'll love it.
So, funnily enough, they just Kagurabachi. I was reading about it. Mora just put out a variant cover or a cover for the new issue of Fractions Batman coming out. That is an exact recreation of a Kagurabachi and a manga cover, which I believe Kagurabachi is also a relatively newer manga too. So it's cool to see that direct correlation in a DC comic.
Hell yeah, that's cool.
Great
I like
cover
that
too.
Ted H with the 10 spot. That's going to cause us to spin that wheel. Had a feeling the Absolute line would be made with love and devotion by the creative team before it dropped, and the actual quality proved me right. So happy I pre-ordered many Absolute number ones. How many of those Batmans do you have? What did I spill on my copy? I spilled
meat juice.
Meat juice. Yeah,
steak juice.
Yeah, that was fucking annoying. And so I had to buy another one for $20.
Ooh, that's that New York Comic Con purchase.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was annoying. But hey, it happens. And then Game Master with 199 just throws up a peace sign. Just want to show us love. Love right back to you, man. Thank you. Wishing you peace and love as well.
What is the Game Master's icon? Is it a Mega Man character? It's like
I
a little
can't.
UFO looking guy. It almost looks like Mega Man style art. I don't know what it is. Let me know.
Kenneth Williams. It doesn't look Mega Man to me, but it
I
could
trust you over that. Yeah.
be. I. What is it? Kenneth Williams. Tell us. Um, Zari says Sean was replying to someone that was mentioning the article. It was about how films influence comic book sales, specifically MCU films. I don't know what you mean, bro. I don't know. Game Master says it is. It's Galaxy Man. I've
Oh,
never
cool.
seen what game is Galaxy Man in?
I dig it. I like those Mega Man proper designs. Little chibi, little kind of cute.
Hell yeah. Jay Sage says I'm spending comic books I don't have because I get paid in October because I moved to a new company. Thank you, bro. That I mean, look, you really don't need to do that, man. Thank you so much. I don't want you to get into the poorhouse giving us comic books, but we love it all the same. And then Rami Darwish gets us across our goal line. Thank you so much, Rami, with the 10 spot. The absolute line got me to go to the LCS again after a long hiatus period with only digital. Also, let's get that goal. Thank you, bro.
Yeah, I'm also part of that. I've bought physical comics probably twice in the past year, and they've both been DC. Once was the All In Special, and the other one was actually Martian Manhunter #1, which I picked up. Which, if I'm only doing it twice in a year and they're both DC, they're doing something right there.
What the Red Band Blood Hunt didn't get you to go to the LCS?
That did, but that was over a year ago.
Oh, I was joking, but I also
Yeah.
forgot that.
I
So
bought the Red Band. I was sucker for the first Red Band.
yeah.
I got. What can I say?
Me. I bought every single issue Red Band. Waste of time, waste of money, really.
You should have gotten your bloody steak sauce on the Red Band. Add a little blood to it.
Some of those issues would have been the only blood in them. Mikey J says the MCU may help sell back issues. For example, when I see Ant-Man writing on an arrow that Hawkeye fires, it may drive the price up on that cover. I think the MCU helps collectors a little bit.
But helping the resale collectors market doesn't do shit for comics.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't help your character get published more.
Right. And you're right about that, because every time that like the first appearance of Kang, the first appearance of Black Panther, blah 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 blah, when they come out in the MCU, but that's people anticipating the ability to make money off of them, not having genuine interest in them, which is the same thing we saw after Batman 89. Literally the same thing happened, except that at that point it happened across the industry. So all those number ones and everything people thought would be relevant were spiking in price, but it was artificial. It didn't actually bolster the industry of comics. It only bolstered resellers. Short-term gains, my brother.
And Zori, if you got the data, I don't know if you're part of the Discord or whatever. It might be easier to throw it on Discord if you're curious. That way it can all be in one spot.
Yeah.
Because I would like to see that data for sure.
Kenneth Williams said he's from Mega Man 10.
10? How many Mega Mans are there?
So mainline Mega Man, I think, got to 12, 11 or 12. Mega Man 10 is hard as fuck. I did not beat that. That game
Kenneth
is
Williams
really,
knows
really hard.
ball then, apparently.
Yeah, that is hard. Order of Dylan says, you guys said it earlier. Endgame made over $2 billion. Everyone saw it. That did not shift the comics industry in any real way. Yeah, I'm not debating this anymore. I know what the facts are. That's a fact. It is what it is. There's no point. The Absolute Universe is a bona fide success.
Yeah.
I have faith, because they haven't done anything to make me think otherwise, that they know what they're doing. and I trust them. I trust them because Scott Snyder and Joshua Williamson are architects of this and they're doing the right things. I trust Chris Conroy and Katie Kubert because they are thinking about this the right way. I trust Marie Javins because she loves comics deeply, 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 and isn't afraid to try stuff out. So these people have our best interests in mind. They want these books to sell. They want them to work. And so far they are. I am looking forward to the future of the Absolute Universe.
Same. I'm loving everything that has been coming out. Even the stuff that I've been lukewarm with at Absolute, I still like a lot more than a lot of other books. So I am they've caught me hook, line, and sinker. So I'm ready to see what else they can do.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Common Sense, I am. He asks if we're reading the Mega Man timeline books.
Yeah, that's a you thing.
Yeah, I'm all over it. We've got a lot more show to do, so make sure you stick around. The first thing that I want to let you guys know about is the upcoming theme for September. August is rolling out this Monday, and we are going to be rolling into Justice League month. We've never done that before. And I personally haven't read that many Justice League comics. So the winner of this will very likely be a book that I've never read.
Yeah.
And that's exciting to me. Nominate your one Justice League book. I say this every time, and every time some of you are nominating like 2, 3, 4 different books. One.
And if you could be specific, if it's like a run, like Scott, I've seen a lot of Scott Snyder love. Which volume? Which story out of that run? That helps us because we can't do all of Scott Snyder's runs. It's like 50 plus issues. So that would help as well. But yeah, there's gonna be a lot of stuff in there that I've also not read. So that's exciting.
Yeah. And then the other thing is too, guys, they have to be Justice League books. Yeah. So as much as we love, for example, DC New Frontier, as much as everybody says that that's the greatest DC book ever, it is not a Justice League book.
Is it?
Count. Nope, it's not. It's called DC.
I was going to debate that.
Frontier. Yeah, I'm not willing to. It is not. So make sure that you guys understand the criteria. Justice League books, Justice League International does count. Yes, anything that's Justice League blank counts. So don't hesitate to get your noms in there.
The movie was called Justice League New Frontier.
That I know. Yes.
Can we watch a movie for a book club? Does that count?
Yeah, if you want to get a copyright strike. Cosmic November with the 10 spot. Thank you, bro. Squirrel Girl's #1 in my heart and introduced me to Ryan North as a writer.
You ever read that run, Sean?
No.
It's good. I really like Erica Henderson, so I actually like that run a lot.
I've really disliked Squirrel Girl. I don't like the fact there's no reason to get into my dislike of Squirrel Girl. I'm sure you guys can figure it out. Just not a fan personally.
You don't like I Should Be Galactus?
No. What else are you guys saying? Call you guys watch Zack Snyder's Justice League for the book club. Might as well be a book. Why would we watch Zack Snyder's Justice League for a book club? Look, I'd watch Zack Snyder's Justice League anytime.
I'd rather rip my own eyeballs out.
There you go. There's the dichotomy of man. So if you want to watch Zack Snyder's Justice League, we could set that shit up. You got 4 hours to dedicate. Let's go. I watched Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 days in a row. That means I spent 8 hours watching Zack Snyder's Justice League across 2 days.
Why would you do that to yourself?
I loved it.
What about the black and white one? Did you watch that? Was that the second watch?
It wasn't out yet.
Okay.
So I never got I wasn't trying to dedicate 12 hours to it.
Fair.
So I left it there. Aaron Ruiz says that sounds like a nice 10K goal. To watch Zack Snyder's Justice League sounds good, dude. There you
10K
go.
in cash? What?
10K subs.
Oh, okay. I'll do it for 10K cash.
I'll do a lot
Oh, hey.
for
Oh,
10K
hey.
cash.
Strange for some change. Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, Now, stores have been doing something a little bit dirty with
Mm.
Batman #1, which is next week, by the way. September, according to DC, is Batman month. We're doing something different around here. We're doing Justice League month. But and by the way, I should have said for the Justice League month, you can nominate your books on Discord, youtube.com/the comics pals. There's a post there, but also on Patreon for absolutely free. You do not have to spend $1 or cent to nominate a book. So make sure you get those nominations in. Stores have been receiving their copies of Batman #1 as early as this past week, in fact. And some of them are breaking street date to sell these copies. Now, my LCS didn't do that. I would be shocked if they did such a thing. But there are a lot of LCSs that do not care as much. And without Diamond, a central figure kind of overseeing all of this and actually delivering something some kind of like consequence as a result, stores don't seem to give a fuck, and they're doing this now. um Pretty surprised.
I guess it is a bit of Wild West right now.
Yeah.
Why did they get it so early? Is that typical?
It's not, it doesn't always happen this way. I guess I'm not surprised that they got it this early, because it does happen. um but you didn't see street stores breaking street date for a book this big
No.
too frequently.
And it would never be like rampant, I feel. It would always be like maybe your shop put it out the Tuesday when they were restocking and you showed up at
Yeah.
a certain time, you know?
Yeah.
On the shelves, just open like that, multiple variants, kind of nuts.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, these are, some of these are polybagged. The blind as a bat blind bag initiative, one of the biggest surprises is obviously supposed to be what is in it. Um, and they're all foil variants, so who cares? But if you did want to see what they look like, Bleeding Cool does have the pictures. They're not revealing what store or stores are involved in breaking street date, nor should they really. Like, I don't care that much.
I'm cool with Street Day being broken when it's a new Pokemon game, that's for sure.
Right. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
What sucks though is that some stores have had their blind bags allocated. For those of you who aren't familiar with this concept, what it means is that the printer, well, what it really means is DC didn't anticipate the amount of blind bags that they would need to have per store. And so the stores put in their orders through their distributor, and they receive typically 100% or somewhere thereabouts of the order that they placed. An allocation is when you receive less than the order that you placed. I know about this because I've experienced this in the card game space many, many times. And so, according to Bleeding Cool, many stores are receiving not the 100% that they ordered, but some of them have received a third and even 2/3 of what they ordered. So they created this blind bag system, underestimated how many orders they would get, and finalized the amount of orders that they placed before they received the orders in.
That
That's not
sounds
a great,
messy. Yeah.
yeah, that's not a great way to do business.
And if some of these shops are breaking street date, oh man.
So then what happens is it becomes a matter of the have and the have nots,
Yeah.
which LCSs desperately want to avoid.
Because like, what if the guy who just happens to be in a shop earlier than Wednesday sees it and is like, all right, cool, I'm gonna grab this. But then the guy who is there every Wednesday shows up and there's nothing left. I know if you get a pull list, but
True. We haven't known about the blind bags for that long. I don't know how that pre-order system worked at every store. But the other thing that can happen, which is really negative, is if you have, let's say, two LCSs that compete with each other within a certain range, and one of them was allocated and the other was not. That's brutal.
Hmm.
Because now one LCS can service 100% of the people who want blind bags, while the other LCS can only
Hmm.
service a certain amount. And if you did pre-order your book and your store was allocated, how they are going to handle who gets a copy of what they pre-ordered and who doesn't is another quagmire.
It might be going just to pull list people, and maybe not even all of them. And there's nothing for the stands.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And it
I've
may
had that
be a,
happen before.
yeah, you may have pre-ordered a copy and you may not be able to get it until if the idea of them reprinting these is even a thing, which I don't think it will be.
The blind bag's probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, they
That's
underestimated
fucked.
how many people wanted to gamble. Hmm.
Yeah. That's fucked.
Were you planning
Uh
on picking up a blind bag?
not for this because I really don't like
Me neither.
foil
Yeah, I don't like
art.
the quality of them. Yeah.
Yeah, they suck. And these are gonna be like I think these are $8.99,
Oh,
$9.99. They are
oof.
$9.99.
Sounds like I'm speaking German with that thing because 9, I'm not getting it.
Right. Three nines. 9.99. Get this the fuck out of here.
Yeah. No
And they're
thanks.
great covers, but you can get them
Yeah.
regular, and that's what I'll be doing.
But like I don't need to see a freaking quietly foil cover.
Yeah.
That doesn't look right.
Yeah, that's horseshit.
But if you told me like the only way to get a quietly normal cover is in a blind bag, I'm more likely to give that a shot. Which probably
That's
says a lot of negative stuff about me, but
no, but that's what
how
works.
that's how it works. Yeah,
That's what
that's the
works.
chase.
Yeah. It worked really well with Invincible. It's going to work with Ultimate Endgame. I think it'll work for this because it's Batman #1 and people are fiends. And blind bags just look cool as shit. But if I open this and I get a foil variant out of it, I don't care which cover of these it is. In my mind, it's worse. So I'm good.
Yeah, the ultimate one is interesting because there's specific covers you could only get in there, and then we don't even know what those are. That's more
Yeah,
intriguing to me.
exactly. Exactly. Benjamin Ayala G with the 4.99. Thank you so much. Just started reading for the first time a year ago. Wish
Ooh,
I had when I was a kid. Now found y'all. Thanks for the great takes. Love the absolute titles.
hell yeah.
That's very nice of you to say. Welcome to the community, my friend. Thank you for being here. I'm glad you found us. I'm glad you found comics. And I really hope that you enjoy your comic book journey. You should join our Discord if you haven't. That way you can become more integrated. Really, everybody who listens to the show should be on our Discord server because you get more of us, you get more of the people that you will recognize from the chat. It's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's cool that you jumped in right as Absolute starting. You picked a good wave to ride for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Robert 222. I love Fraction, and I feel like I'm not seeing the hype I have for him on the book from other people. Maybe he has been away from comics too long because if this was 2015, I think people would go nuts.
If it was 2015, people would be going nuts. Yeah, that'd be a guy, doing one of the hottest books at the time with Hawkeye, jumping ship to go to the competitor. That's big. But I think you're also right in the fact that he's just been away for a while. He did Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen, which was great, but that was kind of a one-off thing with Steve Lieber. I hope this book reminds people why Fraction was so praised when he was writing big two superhero comics.
He has to bring it.
Yeah.
He has to bring it because I agree with what Robert is saying. I don't think that there's a ton of hype behind this the way that there should be. Um, even on my end, quite frankly, like I'm pumped, but I'm not like, oh my God, it's a new Batman #1 pumped.
Yeah.
And there are other creative teams that would make me feel like that.
Fraction's making the rounds now lately with in terms of press for this. So that is kind of getting my hype going. But even for me, who I typically love, Common Sense here says, what are your opinions on Fractions Run of Iron Man? I love Fractions Iron Man. I think that's great stuff. Hawkeye, one of my favorite books ever. I wrote about it in college. So I'm a big fan, but he's also been just gone for a while for me. So even I'm a little lukewarm to him, and I'm typically a huge fan.
Yeah. He just has to remind people why his name rings out. And I
Yeah.
don't think he can't do that. I just need to see it.
Yeah. Has there been buzz on the comic now that it's broken street date, Sean, in terms of quality?
I've seen question marks, actually.
Hmm.
I've seen quality question marks.
Interesting. Okay. I'm avoiding spoilers for it.
Yeah. I'm trying to walk a tightrope between avoiding spoilers and seeing what people are saying. So, but the little I have allowed myself to see, people are like, I don't know about this. So, look, can it be as bad as Hush 2?
Well, anything can be. There's always a possibility, but likely no.
Robert says, I love that David Aja cover. I wish Matt and David teamed up on a book again in the style of Hawkeye.
Did you read that Hawkeye run, Sean?
Yes, I did. Very, very good. That run, I didn't read it while it was happening, so I got to read it like all at once, or at least a bit of it that I read. I don't remember how much of it I read, but I know I read a bit, and I liked it a lot. It was really cool. I'd never read a Hawkeye book before.
All right, to follow up on Robert's thing though, what would you put that team on? Let's say DC.
Green Arrow.
That's the obvious one.
Yeah. That's a good question. I would like to see them on Nightwing.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know why this is the first thing that came to my mind. It's Vigilante.
From Peacemaker?
Well, from DC Comics, but yeah.
Why?
Fraction is funny. Fraction is a funny guy. And I think he works well with a protagonist who's kind of a smarmy dick. And I think Vigilante is untouched enough for them to be able to say something on it and maybe solidify who that character is.
Okay.
Because as much as I like Hawkeye, it kind of rewrites who the character is.
Yeah.
And I think some of the things, the negative parts of Hawkeye are it's not the same guy that's been on the Avengers for 20 plus years.
That's the one. I'm sorry. That's the one where with the Russians in tracksuits, right?
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Oh, I read that whole thing. Okay. Yeah, I read that whole thing. Was there am I thinking of something? I'm thinking of okay, I know what I'm so I've read that whole thing. I think what I was thinking of was the Jeff Lemire, Andreas Sorrentino. Didn't they have a Hawkeye?
They had Green Arrow.
Green Arrow. Okay.
That was like a relaunch post New 52 after JT Krull's run, I believe.
What was the book that showed Hawkeye's origins as a
that was Ramon Perez and Jeff Lemire.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah. Which I thought was great too.
That was good. I really enjoyed that one.
Painterly style.
Yeah. But I definitely love the tracksuit Russian bro. Yeah. That's a classic.
Sure.
That was crazy. Super Job says everybody's read Fractions Hawkeye because of the MCU, right? Yeah, of course.
I mean,
of course.
If any character got MCUified in mainline, it probably is Hawkeye.
Well, he's making a joke about the earlier.
Sure. I know the joke he's making, but also the joke might be real too.
I don't know. That run was pretty popular while it was happening. That was that was.
Well, they actually MCUified the fucking character. That's for sure.
They MCUified Hawk. Wait,
Clint Barton got MCUified because of that book in the mainline comics. After, like, he was no longer. I mean, he wasn't doing Ronin, but he wasn't doing the old costume with the boots and the purple and the blue. His thing was much more MCU/Ultimates looking. And the characterization was a little more Joss Whedon-ish, smarmy, where Hawkeye was a little more harder in comics prior. And I think it then continued onwards. I think of like Secret Avengers on and Warren Ellis kind of continued that run. Same with Secret Avengers by Alice Cott, which is a great book. Yeah, and I think a lot of the characterization where he was almost the characterization changed for Clint after that.
Okay. Monster Design says a lot of comic book marketing right now, most likely geared to Batman / Deadpool crossovers, I feel. Yeah, but where is it? Where is it? They've got the biggest crossover on their hands that they've had, the first crossover they've had in 20 years, and where is it at? Where's the marketing at? If you turn on your television, I can tell you what you're not going to see, and that's a fucking promotion for the Marvel and DC crossover.
Mephisto's advocate here. How do you promote that to normals when you have to say, hey, you need to put in your orders for this book that you don't get for 3 months? Or do you market it when it's already out, hoping that the comic shops prepared themselves?
You market it when it's out. Yeah, absolutely. But you also sound the alarm. You do everything that you can. The articles that have come out, all the articles that you have read about Batman, Batman, Deadpool, all the podcasts you've heard, everything like that. I'll tell you right now how much of DC and Marvel's marketing budget went into all of that coverage I just mentioned. 0.0. Those websites have to run those previews because it's a hot topic.
Yeah.
We have to talk about it because it's a hot topic, but they're not paying us to do that. You guys know that.
I'll take it if they want to, though.
I'd love to.
Yeah.
But they don't throw money in our pocket. You do. Don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe. That's the bullshit. They don't put money behind these books.
I've heard that saying before.
You haven't?
The banana in the tailpipe? No.
Yeah, man, that's a classic. Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh, I've never seen it. That's a glaring omission for me. Yeah.
You would love the first one. It's a very, very
I'm
good
a huge Eddie Murphy guy. Yeah.
Oh my God.
All right. I'll up that on my to watch list. That's going to be higher up now.
Yeah. Yeah. So guys, like, we're the marketing department, really, for Marvel and DC. So should they do better? Yeah. Are they doing what they need to do? Absolutely fucking not. It's annoying. Zenith Flare, I rejoined in time to talk about Marvel's marketing team.
Sorry. If they're watching right now, if they exist, let us know you're okay, marketing team.
Dude, over on Near Mint Condition, they have people from at least DC. When I was on their channel recently, there was the guy from the DC Collected Editions department was watching the stream and commenting live.
Wow. Fact checking?
Sort of. They were taught. We were talking about the Collected Edition lineup for the next year, and he's just there, like, yes, fact checking, but also like saying like, yeah, it's exciting or whatever.
Cool.
Hey, buddy, maybe you should be on the fucking podcast. You know, like, I would love to hear what goes into the thought process behind Collected Editions. That's a very interesting subject.
Yeah.
David Gabriel is Marvel's main guy. He's their main money guy. He's their main guy behind all that stuff. Where's he at? I know that Omar has his phone number, but where is he at? I want to hear from him.
Maybe he's too shy.
Well, the last time I heard from him, I didn't love what I heard, but I still want to hear from the guy.
I remember. Yeah.
I still want to hear from him. Come on. Patrick Zay says there's an easy synchronicity between manga and anime, whereas it's so much trickier / intimidating with comics. I don't think it needs to be.
I don't think it needs to be. I think now the blueprint is there for manga and anime that comics can steal. And I think Absolute is a good reference point to steal, to use to steal, because they're starting from scratch there.
I also think comic book fans do ourselves dirty sometimes, the way we talk about this shit. Like, we talk about comics as if it's this fucking, like, you have to pass a test to be a fan, or there's some very specific way you're supposed to start reading comics. I guarantee you, fucking over 80% of the people who have ever started reading comics in their life started with a random issue of some shit, and then they went from there.
Do you remember your issue of shit that you picked up? I remember mine.
I mean, I know exactly the first comics I deliberately chose to read. Ultimate Spider-Man, whatever issue that was, with Johnny Storm and Spider-Man on the Empire State Building, and New Avengers #1. Because I got them delivered to me from Marvel. I had there was I bought a toy, and the toy came with a comic. In the back of the comic, there was a hardback that said, "Oh, rip this out and tell us what books you want us to send you, and we'll send you a year of those books at a reduced price."
Mine was, and I remember the cover. It was Simone Bianchi cover. It was Wolverine Origins, first book I ever picked up solo. Wolverine Origins, middle of like the 20s. It was had Dakin, Deadpool, and Wolverine on it. It was Daniel Way and Steve Dillon. I gotta say, as my first comic that I picked up as a single issue, Steve Dillon art, not my jam. I love Steve Dillon now. I've gained taste, but like that was like what the fuck am I reading situation, and that's okay.
Who cares? You're here now.
Yeah. I don't know who the fuck Dakin was. You know how weird that was? Reading a book with Dakin in it, not knowing he even existed.
But you know what's crazy? What's the first TV show you ever saw?
Maybe Sesame Street?
Maybe. Who knows?
I don't remember.
Who knows?
All I know is I like TV.
But many people remember their first comic book. There's something very special about this medium that I think we undersell and overcomplicate all the time, and there's no need. And that is what bugs me the most about the conversation regarding how easy it is to get into manga. It's not rocket science to read comic books. Just fucking pick one up and read it.
Agreed. There's been we could probably do a whole show on that, but there's been like a whole discussion on Twitter about it. People gatekeep. Like, no, just fucking read the book.
You can't gatekeep me. How are you going to gatekeep me?
You're going to hop it.
Yeah. What the fuck? Gatekeep. Don't let that shit defeat you, friends. We owe some wheel spins, so we've got 3 to do. So let's do one right now. Let's get that in there. You guys have been very generous today. Thank you so much for that.
Highlight a book. I guess I'll do it.
Highlight a book. You did it last time.
Oh wait, I did it last time. Your turn then.
Yeah. I'll give you a 2 for Saturday, because I read Imperial War. Ooh. Or Imperial Black Panther and Imperial
She-Hulk. I haven't read it yet. I'm curious. Okay.
She-Hulk was a little bit confounding. Like, it appears to be a whodunit because a person in leadership position on Sakaar has been murdered. And She-Hulk is only supposed to be on Sakaar for 5 days, and these were supposed to be peaceful days. And Hulk is going to come back in 5 days and resume his leadership, his kingliness. And She-Hulk now has to deal with all this bullshit. The problem is that the mystery is not satisfying, and I don't even feel like they tried to lean into that at all. It's a lot of nothing going on, and then by the end, when you know what happened, it's like, well, yeah, of course that's what happened. Who fucking cares? Because it's no one you know, it's no one you care about. The book doesn't serve She-Hulk in any real material way, so I didn't love that. Go ahead.
They're one shots, right? To lead into.
There are one shots that then will lead into ongoings. Yeah. And Hickman is on that. His name is there. He didn't have anything to do with these books. You can very easily tell. The Black Panther one I thought was a little better. Part of it is the Hulk like wanting to kill Black Panther because of the war and everything that's going on, and then Black Panther trying to convince, or not even really trying to convince, but like letting Gladiator know, I didn't do this. We had no part of this. Let's work together. And he promises Gladiator a receipt for capturing Shuri, which was kind of cool. So now there's heat between the Shi'ar and the Wakandans over that particular issue. But they're working together to stop the Skrulls and everything else. So that one more materially moved the Imperial story forward, which I liked.
Do you, because correct me if I'm wrong, but you haven't really cared much for Space Wakanda.
No,
Does this make it more palatable for you? This
no,
issue? No, it's still an
no.
issue you have.
Yeah.
Okay,
I just think as an issue, like it was solid,
sure, sure.
but it doesn't change the problem.
Okay.
And I like Victor Laval, by the way.
Same. Yeah, I am excited for that, and he's doing the Black Panther proper. I believe these are the same writers that are going to be tackling the main books.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. This is my weekend read. Hopefully. So.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you'll like it. I'm actually interested to hear what you say about She-Hulk.
I eat this shit up, so I don't expect that I will dislike either of these.
Yeah. Let's do another wheel spin.
Sure.
Robert says Omar's directly connected to Marvel's collected edition department. Yeah, I know, and it's awesome for him. I'm really happy for him that he's been able to maintain that connection.
Ooh, a revelation. Let's put that poll up.
All righty then. So the way this works is there will be a poll that will feature Tyler and I, and you guys have to let us know which of us you want a revelation from, and then we will give you one. This could be comics related. It could be not comics related. Whatever floats your boat, so to speak.
Sure. Ooh, I have one. Okay.
After this Imperial book, I'm very interested in reading the upcoming Space Black Panther series, says C.W. Gordon. I'll buy it, but it'll be more because of the creative team than the concept, I think. I think I'm in that boat.
Cosmic November here saying my first comics were back issues of Tim Drake Robin, Larry Hama Wolverine, and Uncanny X-Men 143, where Kitty Pryde fights off a demon during Christmas. I had that issue behind me, actually.
That's a classic.
My cat's knocked down a huge stack of my stuff. So,
damn, you started with a classic Cosmic November. Woo. That's a good one. Common Sense says, what happened to Daniel Way? He literally disappeared. Dude, I don't know.
That's a good question.
I'll be honest with you. I used to avoid Daniel Way books like the plague. There were writers who's like, I started learning who I liked and didn't like really quickly. So like Daniel Way, Victor Gischler, I think was his name. He was the guy that was doing a lot of the like vampire stuff. And I always imagined he looked like Dracula in real life. I've never seen him. But yeah, I was like, I got to get away from these people. I got to find my tribe.
It's funny because Daniel Way was the first writer I read in a single issue. So I kind of followed him. Well, there's a revelation I can have here. I'm not going to blow my load. So,
well, you did win the revelation poll, so you can go ahead with that. Yeah.
So Dan Trudeau says I voted for a Sean revelation. Tyler's revelations make me nervous. This is comic book related. Okay, this is not crazy. Early on in my comics reading fandom, you know who my favorite character used to be?
Joker.
Close. He likes to joke. I was a fucking Deadpool fan.
Ooh.
Like, I was doodling the Deadpool logo in my notebooks. I thought he was hot shit. Loved him. I have a brain now. But there is a bit of, like, when Deadpool fans, out in full force, there's a part of me that's like, all right, guys, I get it. You'll grow out of it.
Hey, you know what? I'm not going to judge you because Deadpool is clearly one of the most popular characters in comics. So,
dude, when that Deadpool #1 opened after Secret Invasion by Daniel Way, it was like a whole bunch of my things just being like, yes, 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 I'm excited.
Wow, man. I would have to dig through the crates to see if I even bought that. But that sounds. But I didn't like Daniel Way already.
A #1 after Secret Invasion, though, that dealt with the fallout of the Skrulls.
What was he doing?
There were still Skrulls left over that were kind of scattered throughout, and he was just finding them and killing them.
Oh, I didn't buy that shit. Yeah. I did not buy that shit. I was initiated. That's the exact kind of book I avoided.
Man, I love that stuff.
Well, there you go. That's Tyler's revelation. He used to be a big ass Deadpool fan.
Used to be a real fucking nerd. Dan Trudeau says, how old were you? I was junior in high school, maybe junior or sophomore in high school. So probably the right. This is Super Jeff says, can we switch out Tyler and get Gail back?
That's crazy. That's crazy. Look, I'm gonna come to bat for Tyler real fast on that one because if we made that swap, we wouldn't be live right now. Well, I can go
yeah, we
live
can do it
now
now. Yeah, we can do it
nowadays,
now.
but
We got
you know,
the tech. For it.
yeah,
I have job security, is what he's saying.
yes, absolutely. Jed X says, I'm most excited for Jed McKay's Nova spinning out of Imperial. Finally, after 8 to 9 years of no Nova book, we're getting one. Sam Alexander's Nova was my first comic, and I can't wait for more.
Preach. Your first comic was a Jeff Loeb book. That's a really good run, though. Jeff Loeb doing Sam Alexander with Ed McGuinness. Great stuff. And I'm hyped, too. I'm a big Nova fan. The Abnett and Lanning stuff. Good.
Yeah, I'm not excited because you said a dirty name, but I want to be excited.
What's wrong with Ed McGuinness?
I love Ed McGuinness. I really, really, really want to be excited for a new Nova because I think the thing that Imperial has done the most is remind me that Nova's cool as hell and that there's a great story there. I never say shit like this. I wish they would give me the pen because Nova, the idea that
so cool.
He's the singular survivor of this whole thing, this world that ended, and he has the responsibility of being that and of ensuring the safety of their entire culture and history is insanely cool. I can't get over how cool that is.
And I think there's always the risk or the urge to turn Nova into Marvel's Green Lantern. And nobody's really pulled the trigger on it. Like brought the Nova Corps back fully, made like a whole supporting cast. I think that's like in case of emergency, they could break that glass if need be.
I hope they don't.
Me too.
Because I think he's very unique in that regard. No, damn, Nova's fucking cool, dude. Wow.
So cool. Even when he was part of the fucking new Guardian? No, what's that team called? New Warriors. Yeah.
New Warriors, right. Yeah. Yeah, he's very cool. I forgot we were doing
a show that we have other things to do.
Just talking. Jesus Christ, I'm sorry. Shifting gears over to Marvel. Marvel has announced Ultimate Universe 2 years in. We got 1 year in last December. They are continuing the trend. We're getting 2 years in this year. It's going to be written by Dennis Camp and Alex Packnadel. What everyone is talking about, though, is that this is going to be introducing the Ultimate Daredevil.
Interesting. You think Packnadel's doing that part?
Yeah, that seems pretty clear because they did the same thing with Chris Condon and then he ended up with Wolverine.
Oh, was Wolverine in year one? Year one in? Okay.
I don't know if he was in it, but Chris Condon was a part of it, and somehow that led into that book. So
interesting. I mean, I'm not caring for what proper Daredevil's happening right now. So sure, I'll see what an Ultimate Daredevil could be.
Alex Packnadel's an interesting choice.
Yeah, you liked Sentinels, right?
Yeah, I thought Sentinels was solid.
Yeah, and I liked All Against All. That was a good one with Casper Wingard.
Ultimate Daredevil.
What do you do different?
Yeah, because the original Ultimate Daredevil in the OG universe sucked ass. I don't know. Like, what is he? Faithless? Like, how do you meaningfully make it worth doing?
He's a Seventh-day Adventist.
Yeah, he's a Scientologist.
Oh, they're getting heat right now. Let's not talk about that.
Oh,
yeah. Listen, we're not going clear, okay?
I kind of go ahead.
No, I'm curious. Like, do you change his religion? Do you make him religious but a different religion? Is he Muslim? Is he? Actually, that's interesting. Yeah, I hope they lean into the religion aspect of it. I don't know Packnadel in terms of like what his religious background is, if he has one, or if he's written about the topic before. Even if he's writing Ultimate Daredevil, we don't even know that. But I think there's always something ripe to be there with the idea of religion contrasted with justice and law, and how they're not always synonymous with each other.
Yeah, and I think Alex Packnadel's a thoughtful person.
Yes.
I wasn't there for it, but we interviewed him. Yeah. And he's a very thoughtful guy. So I got to imagine that he's got a take. I got to imagine that it's going to be interesting and compelling. Although I will admit that while I enjoy Ultimate Wolverine quite a bit, it could just as easily be, with some tweaks here or there, a mainline Wolverine book.
Sure.
And I know that for a lot of people that bothers them. So this has to find its niche as a Daredevil book.
So Rami Darwish makes a good point. Matt Murdock showed up as a priest in the first issue of USM.
That's right.
Yes, he was there
totally
giving you googly to all the people that died in the.
You're right.
So he's gonna be Catholic-ish Christian. He's a white male. But we're assuming Matt Murdock is Daredevil though. Somebody else could have gotten his orb.
That's also a good point. We've met Matt Murdock, not necessarily Daredevil.
True.
Because Hawkeye in this universe isn't Clint Barton.
Yes.
So,
are you excited to see more of Dennis Camp's Ultimate Guardians?
No, not really.
I think there's something there that we only really briefly touched on in that one issue, and I know there was some people in the chat when the last time we read Ultimates were talking about how much they liked that issue. But hey, at least they're doing something with the Guardians. Again, this is like the Ultimate Universe is taking the characters they're not doing things they should be doing in mainline.
I just think, like, having just gone through Ultimate August and read and been living in the mind of OG Ultimate so long, one of the things that really didn't work was the pace at which they ultimatized characters. And I don't want us to get to a place where, which the Ultimate book has already done, where they've just inundated us with all these Ultimate people that they have no agenda for. And I don't want that to be the case. Yes, I feel like Dennis Camp has meaningfully reimagined these characters, but if you don't have an ongoing plan, what do I care?
I did like the character of the Ultimate Nullifier being a person. That was neat.
That was interesting.
Yeah,
that was interesting.
Marog Obscura says, is that Kang? Yes and no. It is Tony from Ultimate what was it called? The one that started all, Ultimate Invasion? Was that what it is?
Ultimate Invasion, yeah.
Yeah. So that was a future version of Tony becomes Kang.
I'm most excited to see how that develops.
Sure.
This comes out December 3rd. Yeah. And Ultimate Endgame, when does Ultimate Endgame start? Because I'm wondering
after?
Right after. Sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ultimate Endgame launches in December. Yeah, no shit.
No shitting yourself?
No, the website that I was
looking
on. I can't find a date in the immediate. But yeah, they both come out in December. So very interesting. Very, very interesting.
Comes out December 31st is Ultimate Endgame. So that's a New Year's Eve.
Oh, okay.
Gift, yeah.
All right. There was a question that I wanted to answer. Robert 222 says, why did they double down on the priest in mainline and Ultimates?
I think that is I think Matt Murdock being a religious person is integral to the character. Does he need to be a priest? I don't know. He's technically not even a priest in mainline anymore. That was kind of a quick thing for him. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Zari Jr., I think it was, made an interesting point. He said, I think Daredevil so hard at top that doing an ultimate version is a waste of time. I think you could make that argument for a few of these characters. They try to find ways to do interesting things with them, but like, to me, I'm not as crazy about change as much as you can for the sake of it. I just want good stories.
Yeah. But that's why I'm actually interested in what Ultimate Guardians of the Galaxy could be if that spins out to its own book, because a lot of these characters are technically new.
Yeah, right.
Like that Star-Lord is wildly different than mainline Star-Lord. Yeah. Ultimate Nullifier's there. Cosmo was a girl there, I believe.
I'm not as excited for Ultimate Universe year 2 years in, they're calling this, as I was Ultimate Universe 1 year in.
You've cooled down.
Yeah.
But there's always a chance to heat back up. If you're cooling down, you could always heat up.
100%. 100%. Why don't we do the last wheel spin we owe before we close out the news? Spin that wheel real quick. Where are we at?
That one we don't have set up yet. Hold on.
We're gonna get this. We're gonna get this right come September.
Marco's minute.
Oh, perfect.
All right, let's call him up.
I'm gonna call Marco right now.
Are you really gonna call him?
No.
We should. I don't know what he's doing. He's probably doing something. That would be hilarious if we just called him.
Fucking.
And he'd answer the phone doing it too.
He might.
we don't
have that AI Marco chatbot ready yet.
That's just called Marco. Revelation. So you Sean, you can reveal.
All right. What's a good revelation for you guys? I had a good one the other day that I totally forgot about. So I'll tell you guys about the time that I encountered Ja Rule. Fuck it. Yeah. So you guys know Ja Rule, the celebrated, I guess, rapper from the 90s and 2000s. I encountered him at an Outback Steakhouse in New Jersey.
Did he have the blooming onion?
I don't know. He was sitting, so to get to the bathroom, you had to walk past his table. And he had multiple people there with him. So like he was having, dinner with his friends and whatever. And there were like whispers that Ja Rule was there. I was like, yo, that's crazy. I would like to see Ja Rule. And I was with my brother. I was with at least one of my brothers, and he raps, and obviously Ja Rule raps. So I was trying to get my brother to go rap to Ja Rule, like, yo, this is your moment. Like while he's eating his blooming onion and steak.
Shoot your shot at the Outback Steakhouse.
Yeah. So my brother went to the bathroom no less than 3 times just to look at Ja. I also went to the bathroom multiple times to look at Ja. It was weird because you would imagine that a guy like Ja Rule could afford to eat at, I don't know, Bruce Chris, any one of these very well-known celebrated restaurants. And I find my man in backwater ass New Jersey eating at Outback. He wasn't even eating at the Outback in Manhattan. What the fuck?
I guess if you're in Jersey, this is my New Yorker speaking, you don't have that many options that are good. Shots fired.
Where else do you go? At Applebee's?
New Jersey loves a strip mall.
Yes. McDonald's, Panda Express.
Ja Rule's above Panda Express, I think.
You think so?
I think so, yeah.
All right. It was Aussie time for Ja Rule.
Was he so you had to keep walking to the Blokes store?
Yes.
Yeah. Not the Sheilas, the Blokes.
The Blokes. You don't want to mess that up.
No, you don't.
You don't want to mess that
up. Cosmic Remembrance Outback is good, though. I agree. Outback is one of my favorite chain restaurants. The bread, oof.
I love Outback Steakhouse more than I love most other restaurants that I've been to. And I've been to a lot. I just love it. That blooming onion is the greatest thing on earth. And I was so afraid to eat it. And my friend's ex-wife was like, just fucking eat it. I was like, all right.
That's why it's X.
Well, there were many factors.
Okay, let's not air your friend's laundry.
Yeah, there were many factors. World at War Comics. What's up, Sean and Tyler? What's up? Right back at you, man. How you living? Good to see you. Jay Sage says, "Dang, this is a lit chat. I like how you guys are up to date. You know how we do, man. It's every Saturday, dude. Every Saturday." Kenneth Williams, dude, that is exactly what I was thinking. He says, quote, "Who gives a fuck what Ja Rule thinks at a time like this?" Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle does a classic bit. He's my favorite comedian of all time. He does a classic bit that he was watching TRL after 9/11 happened, and fucking Carson Daly was there, and someone said that they wanted to get Ja Rule's take on what had happened, and they said, "Where is Ja? Where is Ja?" And it's like, who the fuck cares about Ja Rule right now? How could you? It's 9/11. Like, there are probably people who wished he was in the buildings during 9/11. More people wish Ja Rule was in the buildings on 9/11 than wondered what he was doing at that moment in time. Oh, wow. Brian Adkins said Sean was a Hulkamaniac. I definitely,
No.
definitely did not grow up a Hulkamaniac, brother. Definitely not. Texas Roadhouse is phenomenal. I love Texas Roadhouse. You ever been there?
Yeah, the honey butter. Also, I rank my chain restaurants by their intro dish, usually bread. But maybe sacrilegious. But at Outback, you know what I get? They got a burger that has bloomin' onion on the burger.
Logan Burger.
Oh, so fucking good.
Yeah, man. Yeah, they know how to do it. They know how to do it. Super job. I'm just joshing, man. I'm just having a good time. I gotta have fun sometime in this fucking life. And one of the ways that I do that is by making fun of Ja Rule. We're all gonna have to accept it, okay? Marvel is putting out a book that is called Hulk Smash Everything by Ryan North and Vincenzo Caratu. I have no idea why.
He's pansexual now?
Yeah. Maybe that's what they're trying to get over.
I think so.
Yeah. So the solicit reads, a guaranteed smash hit. Is Hulk really the strongest there is? Sure, he's stronger than most people, but is he really stronger than everything? Dinosaurs, planets, gravity, cosmic forces? Find out here, because when we say Hulk takes on all comers in this new miniseries, we really mean it. It's it's nonstop action in this classic mighty Marvel manner. Comes out December 3rd. That's some interesting copy there.
He's taking on all comers, huh?
Oh boy.
Hey, what's his Ultimate Hulk again? You won't like him when he's horny?
Right. Right.
Who's the creative team?
Ryan North.
Okay.
With Vincenzo Caratu on art.
I'm not familiar with Vincenzo's art. I heard the name before. Ryan North. Ryan North on Hulk is intriguing. Not interesting. Intriguing.
What I got out of this is they're leaning into Ryan North's fascination with science and hard science facts to see if the Hulk really is stronger than literally everything, which is a much different question than, is the Hulk the strongest one there is? So I get that, and I think that's kind of cheeky and cute, but I don't think this is for me.
Yeah, I'm okay. With the Hulk that's happening in PKJ's Hulk run right now is really good. I'm good. That's all the Hulk I need. And I'm going to get She-Hulk 2 coming on. I don't need to be out-Hulked.
Yeah. I'm good. I'm good on this. It's just not the Hulk that I'm looking for right now, and I'm not sure who this book is for.
Sure.
So it is 5 issues. There won't be a lot of it, but I don't think you're going to find this in my stack.
Not in mine either. I don't have a stack, though.
Well, the digital stack, if you will. Wonder Man is getting a series. That's our last news item today. Wonder Man, who of course has a show on the horizon, is getting a comic book from Jerry Duggan and Mark Buckingham, which is a pretty strong creative team, if you ask me. The solicit reads, to live and die in LA. Simon Williams was a villain. Simon Williams is an Avenger. Simon Williams was dead. Simon Williams is a living actor. Simon Williams was friends with Trevor Slattery. Simon Williams is Wonder Man, and he's in big trouble. Jerry Duggan and Mark Buckingham bring you a book you won't soon forget. Don't miss out on what is sure to be one of the most talked about books of the year.
Jerry Duggan and Mark Buckingham is interesting.
It is. I like that creative team a lot. Do you know who Trevor Slattery is?
That's what's his face? That's Ben Kingsley's character from MCU. Yeah, which he does not exist in the Marvel universe.
As far as I know, he doesn't or didn't.
Yeah,
And apparently now he will exist in the MCU.
I like Wonder Man. I'm a Wonder Man fan. I think specifically what Remender did with him in Uncanny Avengers was phenomenal. Kind of made him a pacifist who has all of these powers, and they've kind of continued that pacifism since then. It's kind of key to his character now. And I'm curious, and Jerry Duggan, who's written for TV a lot, so seeing maybe the Hollywood side of things peek in here is interesting. Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic.
I think there's a pretty good chance this is good. Um, Simon Williams, I feel like, has been dead or inactive for most of the time I've been reading comics, and has a weird publication history from that respect. But I do like him, and I like the fact that they gave a good creative team to this character to hopefully um, help his his notoriety. But but the actor playing the character in the upcoming show is Yahya Abdul Mateen II, who is an awesome actor.
Yeah,
he was in the Watchmen show. He's a really talented guy.
Black Manta, is that him?
I think he played. No, was it? I think he did. I think he did. So you go to the store after watching the Wonder Man show, and you thought that black guy was really hot. And then you go to the comic shop and you pick up the book, and he's white as bread.
He's not brown like that Outback bread.
Nah, that Outback bread is fire, though.
I got a recipe for it, dude. I made it.
Wow. Did it come out the same?
It did, actually.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Man, the Outback bread more interesting than Wonder Man. Wonder Bread. That is an interesting bit, right? Because it's distinctly different visually. But hey,
Yeah.
the shows and movies don't matter to comics.
Right. Or maybe they do. Like I don't know.
I gotta read those. I gotta read that data afterwards.
One of the most frustrating things that has happened at Marvel over the last 20 years to me was the way that they jumped through hoops and broke their backs. They gave themselves scoliosis to figure out a way to make Nick Fury black in the comics. And it was such an embarrassment and such a weird way that they got us to that place. And I just hope they don't do that same thing with Simon Williams. Like, just let it be what it is. Just let it be what it is.
To just play it straight. Like he's just not black. That's all there is to it.
Yeah. Don't gimmick it up. Don't figure out a way. Oh, he's got a son who's black. Don't do any of that.
What if there is a show in the comic of his life story and it casts a black guy?
That would be hilarious.
And
that's a Jerry Duggan move.
Simon seeing that, it's like, well, he's pretty handsome. Kind of works.
That would be a Jerry Duggan thing. Black Panthro says, I'm against race swapping and I am black. I am also black and I am also against race swapping. I don't think it does a service to anybody. Wonder Man being black in the show doesn't do anything for Wonder Man. It doesn't do it. Like, Wonder Man's not all of a sudden going to become incredibly popular. Whenever they do something else down the road, if the MCU ever reboots, I highly doubt Wonder Man will stay black. So what's the point?
I don't care. I think if the race is integral to the character, don't change. There are some characters where like Magneto. That's a hard one to race swap because he is that's integral to who he is and his origin and all that. Someone like Wonder Man, he's still a Hollywood actor. Like that's his big thing. Race is irrelevant there. So I'm like, fine. If you want to do that, if there's a good actor for that role who just isn't white, go for it. Black Panther. You can't make a white guy Black Panther. Unless it's Ryan Reynolds.
Begs to differ.
Well, okay,
Priest.
well, yeah, that's priest. That's the world to come, Sean.
Right. Exactly. So it's not that you can't do it. It's just that we're not in that world yet. We'll get there. Superjob says the thing with Fury was not that they wanted him to be black, they wanted him to be Samuel L. Jackson. Yeah, but what is Samuel L. Jackson? You cannot that like you Samuel L. Jackson is black. You can't say they wanted Samuel L. Jackson. They wanted like you can't say they didn't want a black guy. They wanted Samuel. Samuel's a black guy. They wanted that guy. And that certainly that character doesn't feel like Samuel L. Jackson at all. The Ultimates version does, but mainline doesn't. That character has nothing to do with Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
We'll see how this plays out. I don't know how much I care about this show in general, but the book I am actually pumped for. I think this will be cool.
Yeah, I'm excited for the book itself. Yeah, this is a good character, and the creative team's also good, so all for it.
Yeah, cool stuff. Common Sense says Marvel is doing that with Silver Surfer. At the end of the death of Silver Surfer, it is not Shalabal. It is definitely Kelly Ko, who is a woman.
Yeah, they're seeding something there. We'll see. Common Sense, you read every book?
Yes.
Man, insane.
The number in Common Sense's name, which is 5199, represents the amount of books Common Sense reads every year.
Yeah, I was going to say terabytes in his brain.
That's an interesting. He's got terabytes in his brain. Damn.
Yeah.
Give me some. Give me some. Wumbo Jumbo says, just like starting from the ground up, dude, MCU is just so insufferable. They don't make good, interesting movies anymore. They write them to be palatable for idiots who pay half attention to the movie. Wow, I don't agree with that. I do not agree with that at all. I think it's fair if you don't like the movies, but I think saying that they write them for idiots when I'm not an idiot at all. I guarantee you I'm not an idiot, and I love most of the MCU movies.
I think the fairer way to word that is they write them for mass appeal.
Okay.
I don't think that means they're idiots, though. But I think they're trying to hit more people at once with the stories they tell in that movie.
Yeah, and I don't think that that's ever been untrue, and so I think it's very weird to like you think that they've made billions and billions and billions of dollars by making movies for idiots. Like that's not. I mean, come on, dude. I just feel like we need to develop a better way of communicating than to just say things
like you follow it with Marvel movies feel like content, and I think that's fair. And that there's evidence for that too, especially with the TV shows and Disney Plus. Like the way they're framed is to then be cut for vertical content. So yeah, you can argue that for sure. Yeah, I think saying idiots is a little too far though.
And Dan Trudeau makes the exact right point, as if Marvel comics haven't been written for mass appeal. Yeah, like I hate with a capital H that idea that somehow the movies are less that somehow the movies are besmirching what comic books are when comic books are the same. It's the same thing. Comic books are made for mass appeal the exact same way. Content, how much, like, what does that even mean to you? What does that mean to you? Because if you ask me, everything is content technically. You're using it in a way to deride something, but how is the MCU different from comics in that regard?
I think when people say content, it means media without an artistic backbone to it.
That's extremely disrespectful to the creators who were involved in all those projects that I'm very confident had put everything they could into those projects. That is so disrespectful and holier than thou that, to me, if you say things like that, you have no respect for
creators. I'm interpreting what he's saying.
So I'm not saying you. No.
I'm not saying he's saying that either, though.
Yeah, I'm just making a general statement about language that we use when talking about this stuff. Because if, let's say, you didn't like Fantastic Four, all right, sure. Do you think that the people who worked on that movie were trying to make content? Or do you think that they put a couple of years of their lives into trying to do the best that they could?
I think there's definitely a push and pull between content and the actual art of it, for sure, that exists.
But answer the question that I asked.
What's the question part of
it? Do you think that the people who made Fantastic Four were trying to make content, or putting everything they had over the course of about 2 years to make the best thing that they could?
I think the creatives on it were trying to make the best they could. I think the business people behind it were making content.
The creatives make the projects. That's the point I'm trying to make. When you make a comment like that, you are disrespecting the creators involved in the project. People love to get Cosmic November. People love to put things on a pedestal and then watch them tumble off. If something is popular once, now it's fun to hate on. Yeah, and a lot of people get off on that shit, and I don't. It takes a lot of work to make creative things. You sit at your little fucking desk every day, whoever you are, some slave, and you do nothing with your life. You do nothing. You contribute nothing. You're a fucking accountant, okay? These people are making the things that make your life livable, and all you do is sit on your fucking phone or at your computer with your little fingers and talk shit about them. What do you do? What do you do?
That's unfair to accountants. They're
fuck them.
You need them.
I don't. Fuck accountants. People can do their own account. People can do their own taxes. It's fucking stupid. It's fucking stupid. Yeah, Patrick Zay, I'm gonna cook because people talk shit, and it's like, you're behind a screen, dude. What do you know? Like, you're not in the trenches working hard.
But here's the thing with Wumbo Jumbo, not Super Jumbo, Wumbo Jumbo. I don't think you're trying to talk shit.
I'm not talking about Wumbo.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, I think there is room to critique the MCU, and I think the MCU is lacking a lot of artistic vision, and I don't think that's at the fault of the creators. I think that there is a blueprint in MCU movies that they knew worked at a certain point, and they have kept that going, and it's not working as much anymore. Even in terms of arc structure of movies. A lot of them end the same way. Even Fantastic Four, we felt the same way. It's like, CG kaiju battle with Galactus. It's the same as Shang-Chi. It's the same as Eternals. It's the same as Captain America Brave New World. Like, there is a cookie cutter process to a lot of this now that is, because it's been so long in the tooth that the MCU has been, it is evident. And I think that's okay to critique, because that does lack artistic value.
I don't agree with you, but I don't, in the sense that I don't feel like there is artistic value not present in the MCU. And I think that saying that takes away from the creators, who clearly are creators and artists and talented. And I don't think that you know what you're saying. Like, I don't think that you can say that and know these creators aren't putting creative effort and artistic value into what they're doing.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that there is control from above that makes these things, like, there's no way all these creatives are going by themselves and making the same structured movie. That comes from higher up. That comes from Feige or someone else. And I think that's where it limits things. I think Thunderbolts was actually the best one of them recently, because it kind of went back from that. It was a small enough movie where they were allowed to kind of play with that. But that's been my issue with the MCU recently.
Look, all I was doing was saying that there is no, like, you people saying they're producing slop content, etc., etc., etc. You don't know what you're talking about, and that's a bullshit way to talk about these things. I'm not saying that there's no critique possible. I'm saying that way to talk about this stuff is wrong. And if we were talking about comics when that statement was made, no one would be cool with it. That's all I'm saying, and that's all I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I think that is said that is just a shitty way of critiquing anything.
This got so heated. Yeah, it got fucking heated because I'm tired of seeing people say shit like that. It's not heated between Tyler and I. I'm responding to a general sentiment that I vehemently dislike.
And I'm responding to a sentiment that I understand. I don't understand the way it's delivered sometimes, but I understand the sentiment.
Yeah, well, yeah. Anyway, we've got two things left to do. One of them is to shout out the rest of our patrons who support this show and make it possible. And the other is to play the GOAT game. So we will get into both of those here now. I'm going to read off the rest of our loyal patrons. Thank you to Amin, the Almighty Perez, Houston, the Century Kid Murphy, Peter, Living Lightning Electrics, Lucas Heatwave Holner, Young Dende, Faye Fighter DeWoody, Shalom, Paladin Warburg, Cosmic November, Al Shogunate, Steve Swarm Canaris, Panda V Panda, Ted Wong, Blur Jekyll Jose, Scriptured, Wardens of the Word, and joining the MCU this week is none other than the MCU.
You call yourself, okay.
Joining the Palsverse is Jesse and the Juggernaut.
And?
Yes.
Okay. Mine tell us.
They say that all it really takes to make it through life is one person who loves you. One person who has your back, is in your corner through thick and thin. With that one person behind you, you can accomplish all of your life's dreams. What if you don't have that person? Jesse didn't. Jesse's adopted parents weren't good to him. To them, he was a check and a burden. To him, they were abusive and cruel. He left that home as soon as he could and scraped a life together with nuts and bolts. It wasn't much, but it was his. What it lacked most was anyone to share it with. Jesse had never known true companionship with a person. The only thing Jesse could rely on was his own mind. He'd always been incredibly smart, particularly in the technology and engineering departments. He made his life fixing other people's tech, breaking things down and putting them back together. Jesse made a decision that would change the rest of his life. He would stop looking for that one person and build a companion instead. He would make himself a best friend, something to have his back, something that would never lie or betray him, something to love him unconditionally. He spent years crafting the friend that would last a lifetime. He put blood, sweat, and tears into forging a relationship that would only end with his death. In the time since he began his work, the world outside his window had grown darker, more dangerous, and violent. This friend would also be a protector, something that could ensure he would never be hurt by the world again. As he put the finishing touches on his friend, bringing his hammer down onto the letter H or the letter J emblazoned on his chest, he thought about all the things he would never experience: romantic love, children, marriage. Tears streaked his cheeks as his anticipation rose to meet the friend who would shield him from even the emotional pain, an armor around his body. His work done, he typed the activation sequence into the computer eagerly. Sparks flew from the port connecting the computer to the robot. Jesse was frightened, fearful that it had gone wrong, that he was about to watch his friend die before it had ever lived. Then its eyes opened. It lifted itself from the table. It spoke. "Jesse, I've waited my whole life to meet you. I am the Juggernaut, your best friend, if you will have me." Jesse smiled and cried, his mission accomplished. The most worthwhile thing he will ever do. He built his happiness from nuts and bolts, scraps and scrapes. Now, he would never, ever be alone again. Welcome, Jesse, and welcome, Juggernaut, to the Palsverse. Thank you for joining us.
Bit of a Baymax feel to that one.
What's that?
Big Hero 6.
Never saw it.
Oscar award-winning film, Big Hero 6, made after a Marvel property.
Cool. never heard it, or I've heard of it. I never saw it.
Yeah, a little Frankenstein involved. This is classic storytelling though.
Jesse, I hope you enjoyed it, man. Audience, thank you guys for listening. I appreciate it. See,
Question, Sean.
yeah,
CW Gordon brings a good point. Does this Juggernaut say bitch?
no,
Okay, he's much more.
no, he
chill.
watches his language.
Got it. Okay.
He watches his language. If you would like an origin of your own, patreon.com/the comics pals. Join the pals verse tier or greater is what's going to get you there. We didn't do any of these throughout August outside of this week just because I was really locked in with the deep dive, but we'll get to everybody and keep these going.
And Shu Patel says, "Will we ever get an origin by Tyler?" It's on the table. It is dependent on whose origin it is and if they want it. If they ask for it, I'll do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You can request if you want an origin from a certain person. Feel free.
It's kind of Sean's thing, but that people have requested Marco to do it before too. So if they want it by me,
I don't know. Did anybody ever request Marco in here? He just kind of
Marco might have requested them for him.
Yeah, Marco requested it for himself.
But then Marco talks to the people too. So yeah. But hey, I'll do it if you want. If there's one left that wants me to do it, I'll do it. No pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. Feel free. Thank you guys so much for the kind words. It means a lot. I really put thought into this. So thank you so much. Now, you got us over the hump 2 hours ago or something like that. So we're going to play the GOAT game now. Let's get into it. This is a new game we do where we are going to have to figure out which one of us, or maybe it's both of us,
could be
between Tyler and I, who have to defend the character that comes up as the greatest hero or villain of all time.
Let's spin. Well, not spin. Let's pick a random image. It's gonna be a really slow roll because it's just 3 slides. It's Sean alone doing this.
Okay.
All right, Sean. Now, yeah, that image picker did not roll fast enough because it was just 3 images. This one's got 300. So let's roll through these. Who do you have to argue for, Sean?
Oh boy.
Let's see who you get. It's going. Oh, you got the hood. God damn it. This is right down your alley.
That I can kind of work with the hood.
Yeah. Fuck.
All right, here we go. 45 seconds starting now. If you could put the don't put the poll up yet. It's okay.
I'll put up I'll get the timer though, Sean.
Oh, okay.
That way you don't have to worry about it. You can just do your thing. Let me get 45 seconds on my clock. And ready?
Yeah.
Go.
Parker Robbins, aka the Hood, didn't start from much. He is a low-level criminal when we first encounter him, but he's got ambition and plans, something that separates him from the large majority of criminals we see in Marvel. Normally, these guys just get bagged up by Spider-Man. That wasn't good enough for the Hood, and so he made a deal with a demon to get a hood that would allow him to access powers he could never have imagined. It allowed him to go toe-to-toe with characters like Doctor Strange, Thor, and others. And guess what? He didn't come out on the bottom of a lot of those encounters. The Hood took it so far that he was able to get his hands on Infinity Gems and became an Avengers level threat. It's a long way to go from the streets of New York.
That's it. Man, why'd you have to get the character you liked? I got fucking the Atom.
Yeah, that was a lucky stroke on my part.
1 out of 300.
That was a very lucky stroke.
I love the Hood. You read that BKB book, right? The Max?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Easy recommendation.
Crazy good.
It's Ryan K. Vaughan's second best thing he ever did at Marvel.
Oh, Near said the Hood would be amazing in Rivals. That's a great call out.
Near, he's in the files.
Really?
There is voice lines for people talking to the Hood. And there was ability files for him too. So he is being actively worked on.
Did anybody watch the Ironheart show? Because I know he was supposed to be in that. Okay, was it good?
He's the main antagonist of that, actually. Nice. He's pretty much the B character, and everyone's A. I liked it. I like the show, honestly. I thought the show was really, really fun. It's a little more because he's like the second main character in it, they have you empathize with him a bit, but they do in the original comic too.
Yeah.
You feel for Parker Robbins. You get a bit of that here. And they lean into like the mystical side of things with like Cthulhu and all that, and our boy Mephisto. I mean, it's been out long enough. Mephisto shows up, but he's the one that actually gave Parker the cape.
I see. That's very cool.
It's I like the run, and I thought Anthony Ramos was fine as Parker Robbins.
I kind of want to watch it, but I kind of don't.
Give episode 1 a shot, Sean. I think if you like episode 1, you'll like the show. If you don't like episode 1, just give up.
All right, that's fair.
I think it's like 6 episodes too, so it's not the biggest investment.
The poll has closed. 70 or 80% of you say yes, I sold you. 20% say no. To the 20% that I didn't sell, I apologize. I did my best, but that does mean a win for me this week. So thank you guys for that. I am undefeated in the GOAT game so far. I endeavor to keep that going. We'll see what happens.
I am unwinning in the GOAT game so far, and I endeavor to keep that fixed at one point.
It'll get fixed.
I'm fucking myself with these choices, man. I got to load this up with characters I care about.
Yeah. I feel like
cook the books.
Get these randoms out of here. Get these jobbers out of here.
Somebody asked that I put Luffy in it. So
no. Who the fuck is that?
From One Piece.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm putting it in now so you can roll it.
I will abstain. I will literally abstain. Actually, Solomonster has Homer Simpson in his
booking.
Yeah.
Did you ever play the Simpsons wrestling game?
Yeah.
You get Bumblebee, man. There's a story to be told there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He also has Tony Khan and Vince Russo and others in it. So maybe we should put Joe Quesada.
Oh, creatives in here to say why they're the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm not against that. Yeah.
That's a good addition.
I'll throw that
be a lot of fun. All right, guys. We're going to get him out of here. Patrick, I was just joking. I know who Luffy is. We're going to get out of here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Monday at 1 p.m., you will be able to hear Pal's Previews, which comes out every week. It gives you a preview of that week in comics. Thursday at 8 p.m. we'll be here for Pal's Polls, and then before you know it, it's Saturday. We're back here with Justice League month. Make sure you guys nominate your favorite Justice League book, one of them, for the book club. After the nomination process ends, we'll get the final 4 over on the Patreon page for you guys to vote on. Lots of fun to be had coming up next month. Thank you so